Welcome viewers to races 7 and 8 of the Australian 16-foot skiff and 13-foot skiff national championship, hosted by the Manly 16-foot skiff club. Today, Friday the 13th, beautiful day out here on the harbour, just waiting for a little bit more breeze to trickle in, and joining me commentary today again is Paulie Mack, Paul McKenzie and Andrew Dolly Davola. Welcome, boys.
Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy. Everyone at home and back at the club.
Oh, Buffer's Day back there, so I think us three escaped the torture of what's going to happen back there today.
Definitely a safer option on the camera cat today, Jimmy, especially for a man that doesn't drink. I think I would be pretty bored in there hearing everyone's stories.
Oh, well, it's good to have you boys back out here. It's some up and down results through the regatta, but speaking to Robbie Napper this morning, it was moving day, and I know when Robbie says that, it's game face on. I couldn't get an interview with him or anything, so he's they've fired the boys on Imey. They're raring and ready to go. But what do you? Should we jump in and have a look at the overall results now that we've got a drop come into play, and we'll let the viewers at home see who at the zoo. And in the 16-foot skiffs, you got Typhoon after a drop on 17 points of the leaders. Imey on 21 points are in second. Moon and Yachts on 23 in third. Sail Racing on 25. Noakes 31 points from St George. Then Eric Storage on 34 in sixth, and seventh is Cunningham's on 37. For my liking, past that is almost mission impossible to come into the overall results. On the handicap, the series leader in the 16s, Man Flew, Nicholas Stabik from Middle Harbour on 68 points. Second, Outback Marine, Georgia Clancy from the Manly Club on 70 points. Noakes Blue, Ryan Ewing from St George on 72. Cunningham's Nick Connor from Manly on 72.5. And MH44, Eva Atwood from Middle Harbour on 73. West Weather Tex, Jess Rivers from Belmont on 74.5. It's pretty tight on the handicap situation if we kept reading all that, but you can see it there on the screen, viewers, so jump in and have a look at what you like. And then in the 13-foot skiffs, we have the mighty little Ebix. Gemma Hopkins from Manly on 7 points. Young James Hopkins is a bit confident. He said just got to get a second in one race today and that's it, sewing up. So he's a man of...
That's dangerous.
Very confident he hasn't put the mocker on himself on Friday the 13th.
Second, Bartley Constructions, Taylor Spriggett on 14 points. Third, Fluid, Donnie Rollinson from Manly on 19 points. On handicap, we have Abico Zachary Brackenbury from Manly on 18 points. Second is Livewire from Hornsby Karingai, Isaac Robbins on 25 points. Third, Cybertech, Theo Franklin from the Manly Club on 27 points. Fourth, Botany Scaffold, Sophie and Bella from Manly on 27.5. So, what do you guys?
Well, for me, when we have a look at the 16 results, Jimmy, it's really those top five. And, 9 race regatta, we actually get another drop. And as we look across the points here, it gets even tighter once we bring that second drop in, which, with the forecast, I am predicting is actually going to come into play. And I think when I did a bit of quick maths last night, it's 5 boats with 4 points between them.
Yeah.
Which is extremely tight with 3 races to go. And on a day today, as Robbie Napper's pretty much hit the nail on the head, these 2 races is really, if you can do well today, you set yourself up for tomorrow. And especially some of those guys who fancy themselves in a bit more breeze, which does look like we're going to get tomorrow. Those people like probably on the Imey, there's some big units. Trent works hard. they'll inspire themselves with a bit of confidence versus the guys who have been doing really well in the shifty stuff and moving forward a little bit more, like the Typhoon and stuff like that.
And only one race tomorrow, so we've got 2 races today. So it's a hell of a lot to bank one day on, one race on. But ideally, if you can set yourself up here today,
give yourself a shot tomorrow. I think that's
shot at the title.
You want to have a shot at winning tomorrow.
There's Juby's admiring our camera boat, so we can get him to give us away. There you go. Juby's the boys.
But yeah, today's as you whatever you want to call it, moving day, whatever. It's a day that they've got to make the foundation for tomorrow, and someone's going to come out today with a bit of a points advantage, and then it's going to be up to them tomorrow to defend it. But as Paulie says, tomorrow looks like probably the best sailing day of the whole. Well, that we've had racing through the whole regatta. Probably the strongest breeze we're going to have, probably the fairest breeze we're going to have. So they've got to set themselves up today. And to me, honestly, that top 5, especially the top 4, we could see any of them rise to the top today, I think.
100%. And I mean, with this weather today, it's looking pretty similar to yesterday, isn't it, Dolly? Maybe just pushing through with the breeze a little bit earlier than yesterday?
Yeah, and I think a little touch more to the left today, so it's got a little bit more north. Yesterday we were a bit on the north side of east, but we're going around. I think as we progress, it'll probably, for me anyway, I think it's going to swing left a bit. Yep. The cloud is starting to burn and lift, but just over the top of we're looking up towards the Skiff Club at Manly. We kind of have that on the screen, but you can't see it. There's still cloud out over the sea. Yep. It's burning off over the warm land, but there's more cloud coming. So that could keep this breeze down a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I'm expecting it to sort of pulse through a little bit and then back off a bit like what it did yesterday. And just when that happens, we might see it flicker around to the right a little bit or either way. But it's definitely going to be interesting. It's not a true nor'easter just yet, is it?
No, not at all. And it gets where we're situated and where they're looking at the putting the top mark, which I think is probably between the start line and Little Manly up towards Kilburn Towers. Pretty patchy up the top there.
Yeah, so course info's come through. It's going to be course 2, L3, 040 degrees, 0.75 at the nautical mile.
Yeah, so that breeze has been flicking a bit between 030 and 040 at the moment. If it can get around left of that a bit more, I think we'll see some better breeze.
Yep.
But still quite early, right? It's only early in the afternoon. It's daylight saving time. By the time we get to that second race, we could see it looking a little better.
What's course 2? We've been on a course 1 all week, haven't we, Jim?
Course 2 means that the 13s and 16s go to the same top mark.
Okay.
Don't worry, I cheated. I went back to Jack just then, trying to sound intelligent, but I can't fool you, Paulie.
Okay.
And there's our current leader on handicap, Manflu, there on screen, the Stavic family. Dole, you know a lot more about them than probably both of us.
Yeah, so Nick steering, his son Fergus in the bow, and brother Andrew on the sheet. Andrew, a multiple Australian champion in the 16s. Did some fair bit of 18 sailing as well. But they're pretty happy with. I was talking to the boys at the club last night. They're very happy. We were talking about the sibling thing on boats. We do hear them get a bit heated out on the course from time to time. I think Andrew, or Gumpo as he's affectionately known in the sailing community, he's definitely in charge and calling the shots, and if things don't go right, he lets the boys know.
Always a bit of yelling somewhere. There's the Erics who broke through for a win yesterday, in the first race yesterday. They're going exceptional, these blokes.
They are, and they, I think with the exception of last year, they make a bit of a habit of winning one heat at each national. So they might be looking today to turn that around and maybe make it 2.
Yeah, well, they're they're probably just on the outside chance of potentially making a podium.
True.
And, you know, this weather today is very similar to yesterday's breeze, as Paulie alluded to, and we've seen them come through and
Had some speed, didn't they?
had some wheels.
They did. They can sail in a breeze too.
Yeah,
So you know, if they can move up the leaderboard a bit and have a decent day tomorrow as well, they could, as you say, Jimmy, they could push towards the front.
And today's race 7 is in honour of the Bryden's compensation team of Lee Napton, Pete Mackey and Ricky Bridge.
The unstoppable force.
They were for a bloody long time, weren't they? But I caught up with Ricky a little earlier on today and might throw to that, Chits.
Here with Ricky Bridge in off the Noakes sailing team. Ricky, great results so far, sort of still in touch. How are you feeling?
Yeah, mate, feeling good. Really looking forward to today's racing. Obviously, we're performing a little bit better in a bit more pressure. So hopefully we get that this afternoon with the building sea breeze. But all in all, yeah, look, we've had 2 wobbly ones, but other than that, we've been in the contest.
Yeah, well, we've seen after you had the wobbly one, you come out firing with led around every mark, which was great to see. Good way to come back.
Absolutely, that was a great day. I mean, it was just one of those days in sailing where you know, everything just fell into plan, and we just had one of those days. So
Right, well done.
you take them when you can.
Yep, and then today's first race is in honour of the mighty Bryden's compensation team, which you were part of with Pete Mackey and Lee Napton.
Yeah. So it's an important race, I guess, for us today. It'd be nice to win the race that's named in honour of us, but we'll see how we go. But it's it'll be good.
Get it out of your mind, mate. You just get stuck in out here and see what you can do to win another championship. So,
Yep, we'll do our best.
All the best, Ricky. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Jimmy.
There you go, hearing from one of the nicest forward hands going around, without a doubt, Ricky Bridge.
Yeah, mate, they're not just champion sailors; they're champion blokes for sure. And obviously, Mackie and Bridgie, part of that team from Bryden's that we're honouring today with this first race of the day today. And they're teamed up this year with Davey O'Connor, who is a fantastic helmsman, that's for sure, isn't he, Paulie?
Yeah, Dave's one I've sailed with for quite a while against. I will say, you know, this Bryden's team that we kind of are honouring, they were I got to sail against them in quite a number of the ones that they did win there, and it was almost an inevitability when it got to this stage of a regatta when you were sailing against Lee, wasn't it, Jimmy? Like, one of these days where there's that little bit of pressure on, you just know that he's going to bank a few good results and he's going to either lock it away or, you know, put himself in a really good position to win on the final day.
And there's the orange flag up, so we've got we're not far off signals, probably 5 minutes off signals thereabouts.
And still a few boats coming down from Manly there, Jimmy.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, obviously we've been all up there this morning. There wasn't much air or wind up there this morning, so maybe just a bit of troubles getting off the beach. A few might have elected to leave it on the beach, maybe.
Well, the majority of them do look like 13s, but I think there's a couple of 16s in there as well. But certainly everyone who has a stake in the results, they're out here. They've been out here for quite some time.
A couple have already done a hot lap, haven't they?
That's right. Get up the course, have a sniff around, see where the breeze is shifting and where there is breeze, where there isn't breeze. The good guys will always do their homework pre-race, and they're the guys who are prepared. And going back to the Bryden's boys, just for 1 second, you know, talk about being prepared. Peter Mackey is undoubtedly one of the best boat preparers in the 16 fleet. His boats are always on point. Everything is very neat and tidy, well maintained. You don't see those guys have a gear failure.
Totally.
Oh, sorry.
The commentator's curse. Llama?
Hopefully they won't in 8 knots anyway.
Well, as we do look up the course, it does look like it is just really trying to push through, isn't it?
And a little bit more left too.
Yeah.
Paulie, you can see in the drone shot there, you know, I was talking the other day for maybe some non-sailors, we talk about veins of breeze, veins of pressure. You can see the dark patches in the water on that drone shot. So that's the pressure of breeze moving down the course. It's really crucial in a skiff that you position yourself to be in the strongest wind. And it's a lot easier to see on that drone shot than it is on the water when you're sitting down and you're working hard on a skiff. But the really talented guys, they're the ones that what we call picking the eyes out of the breeze. They can find that breeze, link up the gusts, and especially downwind, right, Paulie? You've sailed with someone who's pretty good at linking up those gusts.
Yeah, Ruffy had a really good talent, and it's all about picking when to jibe, but then also these guys are really good dollies, change their modes in a gust, so they go, okay, we've got to stay in this one longer, so we're actually going to slow our boat down and sail a little bit lower or higher just to try and make that connection between the two. And that's when you start getting, you know, to get to that level, the boat handling's almost got to be second nature, doesn't it? So that you can get your head right out of the boat and start doing that. Yeah,
it becomes, when you get to that top level, it's sixth sense stuff.
Yep.
You're almost not thinking about it. You're seeing it and your brain's processing it, but it almost happens automatically, right?
Yeah, that's it.
So we're probably starting to get close to getting this race underway, or signals underway shortly. Now, we were talking about the pin boat the other day. That line looks a lot shorter to me. What do you think?
That looks a lot shorter to me.
Yep.
And have we got the tide racing out again today, Dolly?
Yes, tide just turned about 1 o'clock.
Yeah, and we are sitting smack bang in the middle of maximum flow out of Middle Harbour.
We were having a chat before we came on air, Dolly. I've sort of known that you're a bit of a harbour wizard, knowing where all the currents are going, where the holes are in the harbour, where to get a kingfish.
Yeah.
I always love hearing your thoughts on where it does rip through here, and I've always listened to it very intently.
Yeah, well, I've spent close to 60 years fishing and sailing around this very patch that we're on right now.
Yeah.
And, you know, it can be a bit of a home ground advantage, you can say. But, you know, the top guys from the other clubs, they've done enough sailing down here. That and they're also smart enough, like we were talking about before.
Yeah, and they almost had a practice run at it yesterday, didn't they? So they all know just from the general recalls that they're going to get pushed over this line.
Yes.
And then they also know which end of the start line to maximise that tide to shoot them further up the course.
Yeah, that's right. But surprising in this breeze that we've had the last few races, the big splits we've had in the fleet, and yet we've been converging back at the top mark, and both sides can pay.
Yesterday was amazing, wasn't it? The boats that one tacked it out each side just almost bumped into each other at the top mark. Yeah,
which, you know, it's usually that you have that one favoured side. If you get it wrong, you usually get crucified. You get it right, you reap the rewards. But it just shows that there's more than one way to skin a cat, I guess.
Yeah, well, I think what I've sort of been seeing in these easterly kind of breezes myself is it's very easy to get lost in the centre of the course, whereas we've sort of had two breezes pushing together, and if you try and work that centre, you sort of can end up getting caught between the two, and you better commit to one and almost sail around the edges.
Totally.
So we're approaching 4 minutes here. The race committee's done very well to get this off on time, I would say. We were a little bit nervous beforehand, weren't we, Jimmy?
Yeah, mate, Hugh Lester's got the team on a string. They're out here for nearly an hour and a half before the start of the scheduled time, just monitoring the situation and ready to go. And he has all the pin boats in the mark lane boats in various locations. So, you know, I think it's been a very well-run regatta from race management point of view. Overall, once we got into it finally.
Yeah, he's just gone off screen there on the committee boat. He's sort of coming back now. Now you can see the fella sitting up on the bow of the committee boat there. He's just clambered up the side, he's going to be critical today. He's the man with the flag for the individual and the general recall. And my prediction is his arms are going to be pretty busy. Little gust coming through here now. Little localised gust just on us now.
So, Dolly, as you look up these scores, what's sort of your feeling of where you think you'd be heading today?
It's a bit of a tricky one, Paulie, because breeze-wise, I think I'd be heading over towards the Bombora.
Yep.
And hoping that breeze clocks a little bit north, and then you get that big port hand lift up. But the main tidal advantage will be more this side of the course. So it's a bit of a trade-off, but I hate to put it out there because then they go and prove you wrong and make you look like a fool. But I think I'd be heading over to that Bombora.
More that traditional northeast line over to the Bombora.
Well, you know, if you get caught out on a bit more to the right and the breeze does start to clock around more to the northeast direction, you're going to suffer, right?
It's not a percentage play going right, is it? You feel a bit safer in the left.
Yeah. What we are definitely going to see is those key players. They're going to not let each other out of their sight.
Yeah.
No one's going to let anyone sneak off and grab a shift that no one else is going to get right. I think we're going to see some pretty tight racing, especially between that top five.
Talking of top five, who's your pick? We'll just have one each in race 7 here. Dom?
Am I going first, am I?
All right, yeah.
It's a tough one to pick just one. I think for this first race, I might go for Ruffy, I think.
Daniel Turner on the Moon and Yachts.
Paulie's just thrown his toys out.
Well, he won't go on Noakes because he's already on Noakes. He's already sunk them. So who are you after?
Me? I'm going the sail racing.
Yep, sail racing and
1 minute there.
You know what? I'm going to go Eric's from Middle Harbour.
Yeah, good
I'm
call, Jimmy.
liking this with this weather, so Eric's for me.
Okay.
So we're just looking down the line there now past the committee boat, and they're looking reasonably well behaved there. We're counting down now with almost at 30 seconds and no one pushing forward too hard.
All the main contenders look to be down that kind of pin end of the line.
Yeah, either mid to pin. The only exception sort of boats that are close to that top five, we've got Nick Connor right here at the boat in Cunningham's.
Red Pump's having to bail out there down the pin.
I'm looking like a clean start here, boys.
I think the Nizami pushed it pretty hard at the boat end. But
they did. Nice start though, huh?
It looks like a great start. And it looks like Wichard had a great start off the pin, closely followed by the Dominoes. There's that boat that Jimmy likes.
Eric's is in there and
just popping out there for half a second.
And once again, Hugh Stoddart down that pin end. He's Ivy tacked back out of there.
And Sail Racing look like they've had to go back as well.
Sail Racing look in a whole lot of trouble there.
Yeah.
Sorry, Paulie.
I know, and unfortunately for you, Dol, I think I can see that Moonin a little bit deep as well.
Indeed. Who else have we got down? Yeah, Moonin in a lot of dirty. Yeah, they're going to have to get out of there shortly. They're probably looking for a bit of a lane that they can get out without having to dip too many sterns.
He's got to start thinking of the wise words of Steve Bowen. Clear air, clear air, clear air. That's all he used to say to us off the start line if he got out of a bad run.
Yeah, so on the screen there at the moment, we've got those boats that were down at the pin end, the plain-looking boat with not much signage. That's the Musto. Stepped out to windward of the Erics a little bit, but probably finding it a bit hard to live there. They'll have to sail a very high line with not as much pace. We're seeing Dominoes just step out there. So they've got some space and they're sailing freer and faster, not having to pinch.
Yeah.
Both them and Skelcon, they're legging out I think if they can get in here and get a tack in before they run out of air in the Bombora area here.
It's a bit of a tough one when you're heading over this direction, isn't it, Dole? Because you can sort of get that little gap out in front, but you really need to get a big enough one to get a clear lane back. Because you can easily have a whole heap of people tack under your bow and affect you in the way they stop you sailing your mode.
That's
if
right.
That makes sense.
That's right. The other danger coming into this side, you can come in on a bit of pressure on starboard tack and you're feeling really good. You think this is a sweet spot to be in, and then you flop over and there's no air.
Yeah.
So you've got to get out of here before that breeze runs out, right, Paulie?
And Paulie, just you touched there on modes. Explain for the people that aren't too savvy on sailing what you mean by that, brother.
So when we talk about the modes that we're sailing, a lot of people are just trying to think to get their boat to go fast, but these guys further up, especially towards the top end of the fleet, they have a high load or a high mode or a low mode, or sometimes just their general normal mode. So a high mode is when you're going a little bit closer to the breeze and you generally are going a little bit slower. So you might be trying to pinch up towards another gust, or you got a boat below you trying to squeeze out. Or your low mode is further away from the breeze and the boat's actually going through the boat a little bit quicker. And these top guys will switch between the two depending on what breeze they see in front of us, as well as what boats are around them and how they're what they think is going to be the quickest way for them to get up to the top mark.
Yeah, so those two boats, Dominoes and Skillcom, they managed to tack before the pressure died. They're both swinging hard. They're both going very fast through the water. We'll see how they converge with these boats that bailed out and went to the right. They look to me like they're coming back on a bit of a head of those right-hand boats.
Yep.
So I expect these guys to cross quite easily. So those people at the club at the Old Buffers who have come down from Belmont, I'm sure they'll be cheering watching these pitches.
Well, I think the leader from the right-hand bunch is also to the SKE Electrical from Belmont, so they're looking pretty nice at the moment, the Belmont boys.
Yep, Nozomi in there as well after that good start. And interestingly, the Wishart Pacific, they're having a great start to this race.
They had that blinder start off the pin, didn't they? So
I love it when I did say that left-hand side was favoured, Paulie, and
It worked.
I wasn't made to look like a fool.
Well, I mean, it's that classic northeast line that you sort of take up here, isn't it? You come in and you hit the Bombora-ish area and you get a bit of a compression around the point, a little bit of a lift when you're on port tack, and what you tend to find when you time it right, each gust just seems to come over your shoulder and you just keep on lifting and lifting and lifting and stepping your way up the course. And when you get it right, you look like a hero pretty quickly.
Yeah, much easier to lead from the front when you're not having to deal with the other boats. And
Yeah, pick your own course, isn't it?
Yeah, and they're looking really good. Look at that picture, fantastic, looking over the shallows of the Bombora there.
And now the Dominoes, sort of on screen with the SKE Electrical, I think it is, they're working their way through this, they're working their way through this transition zone to get to the top mark on the right hand side. Traditionally when we sail at Manly, we have a top mark further up in the bay towards sort of the club, and you can work this left hand side a little bit further, can't you? But we sort of got to work our way over towards end head, as we all affectionately call it.
That's right.
Which generally, if you're working your way a bit further up, you're not thinking about going over here, and you can take a little bit of punishment to get across there. However, sometimes if you get across there first, you can get that little bit of right-hand air and make a couple of gains.
And I'm a little surprised now that we're up here. The top mark is pretty much laid straight off Flagstaff or Canai Point, the inside of North Head. I was expecting the mark to be a little further north than that.
It was only a 0.75 mile beat, Dole, so
very short
lap.
But they've got us on another lap today, so a little bit shorter, but I think it'll be a slightly longer race, won't it?
We're just getting up towards the top of the course now, and we're probably about 400 or 500 metres from the top mark, these lead boats that are on your screen now. And we're coming through some really nice pressure. The breeze was building down in the Bombora there, and like we were saying, we get up to the top and we get the land interference, and it's very patchy, very shifty. They're going to find it tough to negotiate through some of this breeze.
It just seems to be the story of the way. Just the last almost 200 metres of getting to these top marks has been very, very difficult. The bottom half of the courses, everybody seems to have worked out. This last little bit, we're seeing some big moves being made with people sort of getting lost.
Yeah, we could see some big changes. Domino's on screen now, looking really nice on port tack.
Yep.
With plenty of pressure.
Yep.
Couple of the boats further over to the right, quite soft. They've got crew in.
Yeah, Domino's is motoring, aren't
Either
they?
bending, yeah, Domino's are flying. And we saw that the other day, right? They were very quick upwind the other day.
In that bumpier kind of heavy air stuff, they were an absolute rocket ship upwind.
Yeah, which for guys from Belmont who are used to sailing in flat water,
It was so surprising, wasn't
very
it?
surprising. But 3 very good sailors on there.
And from their standards, they've had a pretty disappointing regatta. You'd
Yeah,
have to say.
very mixed results. And you know, we'll go back to that first day. Very disappointing for them.
I think they did. They let everybody left a little bit there, the Dominoes, and they let some people get out to the left of them who have made some really good gains back into them. We're about to see the Noakes come on screen here. I've got a strong feeling they're going to be able to sneak around this mark in first.
Yeah, quick tack inside there.
Wow, well done.
Yeah, fantastic.
Well,
and
so-
they need a moving day today if they're going to stay in contention.
Yep, so first around Noakes, Dave O'Connor. Second, we have Domino's, Michael Quirk. Third, SKE Electrical.
Scotty Babbage.
Fourth is the Mighty Typhoon with the gold leaders jerseys on. Next is Musto. Then Light and Wonder. Oh, this is
Very compressed here now.
Nazami, Skelcon. Type 1 with Tribeca and NHS here, just getting around the mark.
And there's the Sail Racing coming in now, Paulie.
They've done an extremely good job from going back at the start, haven't they?
RW
very
Retail
deep.
from Queensland. Next around, Sail Racing, Infinity Rigging.
If we just go the right of
Shebang.
screen, the NHS is having a little bit. Oh, they've saved it.
Oh, there's a bit on here. People slamming in, coming in from Port Tack.
Why not?
Fire stopping coming around there with red pumps, red fluid. Outback Marine, Bartley, Noakes, it's all happening.
There's a bit of chaos here, isn't there, Dolly?
This kite set that you're looking from above on now, these boats are almost rubbing gunnels here.
I know what I'd be doing.
A bit of screaming.
No, I'd be doing a bit of jiving, Dolly. I'd be getting out of that bunch as quickly as I could.
Yeah, very soft on that other side though.
Two boats that, well, there's Imey just rounding now with Moonan in the background. So they've got a lot of work to do.
A lot of work. Roughy, very, very deep. Both of those boats.
So there's
Also,
second
on the
and
access on approach to well back, they'll be disappointed with that after they've been having a great regatta. We're just going to blast down the course. We've got Imey on screen there. They're giving chasing hard.
Robbie Napper will be working hard today, won't he?
He certainly will. He'll be angry, won't he, Jimmy?
He'll be right. He's calmed down a bit.
That's why we call him Snapper. He can snap. So we'll just chase them back down towards the bottom here. And we're still pretty tight at the front here with these front runners. But we've still got those boats. Noakes has stepped out nicely.
Yeah.
From Domino's, Light and Wonder are in there, Typhoon giving chase, Musto and SKE. They're sort of our main players out the front at the moment.
Yeah, the Noakes has done really well down there. We can just see their blue chute behind the fire stopping sort of there, maybe even a bit further around.
Yeah.
They've built a good 50-metre lead there.
The boat's on screen now, still on starboard jibe, fire stopping, red pumps, red. Sail Racing. They're sailing very deep into the Bombora here. They want to be careful they don't run out of pressure. They're also if we look across some of these boats like the Zomi and NHS and RW Retail, if they get a bit of pressure, they're going to be struggling to get to this gate, I think.
Yeah. And it does look like there is a little bit coming down the centre of the course. The Tribeca looks pretty lit up above them with the Skell kind of. I'm with you there, Joel. I think that they're really going to struggle to make it, especially since the leader jibed about 100 metres earlier, and they haven't had to have another jibe to make a left turn.
And the only thing that might be in their favour is the tide is going to cart them up the course a bit.
Yeah.
Maybe they've taken that into account. They might be on the perfect lay line, but these boats who jibed a good 150 metres above them, they're pushing two strings, going very quick, and they're on the lay line, right?
So the Noakes has just made their way around the bottom mark. They've done a right-hand turn at the bottom, quickly followed by the Dominoes.
Yeah, Dominoes dropping there. We might have a halyard problem here, folks. There it goes now.
Nicely done.
Looked a bit messy to start with, but they've pulled it off. Crew just getting the kite, last bit of the kite in the bag. Hugh Stoddart, round in third.
Well done.
Those boys are having a fantastic regatta.
Yeah.
I think well above their expectations.
Yeah. Well, at the club, Dolly.
Just quickly, Light and Wonder has gone around the other mark and SKE Electrical as well.
Yeah, they've opted to take that other mark, SKE's tax straight away. They don't want to leave that pack, and now Light and Wonder have gone as well. So we saw Typhoon and Tribeca come around behind Musto there.
We've got the Witchard.
Skelcon a bit messy. Well, you see the overhead shot there. They went a bit close to putting it in the tide with a messy jibe.
They had such a good start to this race. They've just now got caught in the washing machine of all these boats coming in the mark together.
Yeah, and that's what we were saying about it's easier to stay out of trouble in front. On the right-hand mark, Sail Racing, they have made a massive gain down that run.
Yeah, they've almost pushed themselves into the top 10 now, haven't they?
Yeah, big gain from those guys.
I'll tell you, the other person who's come down here pretty quick, it's the Ivy. We can see them coming through there with the orange chute behind the Bartley. We're about to see Rob Napper put this thing away in record time, I reckon.
You see the overhead shot, the orange spinnaker there.
See if I can scoot round the outside and get a good lane heading back over towards the Bombora.
Yeah, they're just caught underneath the outback and the red pumps red there. They're going to be eating a bit of... Davey Gilmore, very smart there. He's jammed it up and slowed the boat right up, but he's managed to try and keep a clear lane, but he's kind of parked it up a bit there.
There's so many boats just at this bottom mark at the moment. It's almost gone light and sucked all the air out. You can see everybody sort of really struggling to move down the bottom end of this course.
It's a lot of square meterage of sail area covering as they're trying to get around that mark.
And then, you know, you step out 50 metres and they're in what, probably a good 12 knots here?
Yes.
Hard two stringing.
Even a bit more, I think, Paulie.
Yeah.
Those puffs are quite nice.
And these boats here have got a really nice lane back over to that side. It's just about trying to get out of that area where the Cunninghams and Moonen are stuck at the moment around the mark.
Yes.
Trying to get out of there cleanly.
It's very messy there, very messy. It's just, as you say, they've just got to get out that sort of 50 metres, they get into clear air.
And then you can put your foot down and get your boat speed back, can't you?
That's right, yeah. So fire stopping, they've got around cleanly.
Lovely boat, that one.
Lovely boat. always been one of my favourites, hasn't it, Jimmy?
Mate, yours and mine?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've heard both of you say it's probably is your favourite boat.
Yeah, most definitely. It's always been a special boat for me. I build a lot of boats.
Yeah.
That one always had a special place. Just crossing Outback, you can see Imey and Fire Stopping have both bailed out on the port tack there, trying to get into some clear air, while Georgia Clancy on Outback, she's still pushing on starboard tack there. They're actually throwing a bit of sheet there. They've got a bit of pressure, obviously.
Yep. Kirk could be working a little bit harder to get a little bit flatter, wouldn't you say, Dolly?
Yeah, yeah. That's the key.
We're going to get pretty lucky, I think, at this top mark. The 16s are converging in on the 13s. So we might be able to see a lot of the 13s go around the first top mark together. So
Yeah.
good.
It could be doubly chaotic up there, Jimmy.
At least the 16s are spread out a bit. So, you know, like especially the poor, you know, the kids from Hornsby Karingai that, you know, aren't used to these big boats bustling around them.
Most definitely, they're used to it. What they do know about up there is tide, though. The tide up there is like nowhere else. Fortunately, I think at least these lead 16s are going to get to the top mark well ahead of the 13s.
Well, I think if they came through with the big bunch that we just saw surrounding that last mark, it could get a bit of chaos up here.
Yeah. Yeah, we're looking overhead at the Noakes now. The Noakes, they're fully stretched. They're eating a bit of main. They've come down on their controls a little.
Yeah.
They've probably got a 50 to 75 metre lead over the Typhoon. The Typhoon has pushed in. It's just pushing the dominoes up a little. We've just seen the Noakes tack.
Just trying to protect that left-hand side, I think.
They are. They're just going to get above, probably get too close to a ley line and just make sure they're above Typhoon and
it's sort of how
Dominoes.
It's how they snuck into the lead last time, wasn't it? Just gave themselves a little bit of gauge out to the left, and it just allowed them just enough to sneak in around the outside. And it's off screen, but me and Dolly are lucky enough to look out the window, and there is a few really nice puffs filling out from sort of up towards Manly Club.
There is some lovely puffs, but what's coming down with those puffs is a Manly cat ferry. And there's not really enough room between this top mark and Canai Point and a lot of spectator boats, so he has no choice but to go through the fleet.
Yeah.
You can see Noakes there are sitting above the Botany Scaffold 13. There's a few boats that are getting mixed up in the 16s there, and it looks like the 13s are doing their best to stay out of these lead 16s way.
Yeah, the 13s look to have taken a little bit of a lower line across to this top mark, haven't they? I mean, it probably is a good idea because the wind shadow from a 16 will affect a 13 a lot more.
Yeah, and for the 13 fans out there, it looks to me, looking out the window, we don't have them on screen at the moment, but we've got Fluid with Don Rowlandson and Liam Karunaratne out in front.
I think the Plonk.
We've got the Plonk on the far right, but we'll see how they converge at the top mark. Not far behind the Fluid 13 is the Ebix. We'd expect to see them up towards the front. They've been pretty much sailing a very good regatta, right?
Oh, yeah. So
We've got the ferry on screen there, and he's really almost thrown it in reverse there to get out of the way, and he has done a great job of not getting in his way, and now he's powering his way out of there.
There's a lot of spectator boats just up near this top mark, isn't there? We got a few people just...
You're too close.
Dolly giving some people some constructive criticism out the window.
Well, there is a rule of 100 metres from any mark of the course or any boats, and some of these spectator boats are flying flags of the boats that they support, so that's probably not the best idea.
So on screen here we have the Noakes. They're probably about 5 to 10 seconds off attack here, and then they'll have a little, probably 5 to 10 seconds into the mark. They've done well up there maintaining their lead, haven't they?
Yeah, it has been reduced slightly, and both Typhoon and Musto have managed to hang on to those gun positions. We've got the Plonk 13 coming around the top mark, you can see on screen now. Fairly narrow lead of about 50 metres to Fluid.
They had their first win yesterday.
They did, Middle Harbour boat, and I said the other day that when the breeze got up, they'd be ones to watch, but they're doing well in the light as well. Typhoon around.
Typhoon and That's the Belmont support team all behind us there. So
Domino's managed to sneak in front of the Musto.
Musto's done really well to hang in there.
They have. They've done very well. They've got some wheels, the boys.
They've done well when they've made it up to this front pack. They tend to have been able to hang in there actually this week.
Yeah.
You know, we sort of, the one thing I've noticed, we'll actually, here comes the Botany scaffolding.
Yeah, so we've had Ebix go round in third place, then Botany Scaffold, then Shearline. We've got a very close in the 13. Shearline, Bartley. Then we've got number 40, then 37, Cybertech, and now we've got some more 16s. SKE, Sail Racing, how
they have rocket ship. So they've got themselves up to what, about 6th, Dolly?
Yeah, you haven't put the curse on them, Paulie.
And the Fluid. What are they doing up here?
They did a lot of tweaking on the boat ramp this morning. Phil and
twerking or tweaking?
Well, a bit of both, I think, Jimmy.
It's good.
So then Tribeca and Light and Wonder. It's Gelcon and NHS coming in.
There's a lot of talent on that Fluid boat, and we always were thinking they should be a bit further towards the front of the fleet.
Yeah, we've been saying in the commentary though that they're going pretty cruisy. We've just gone past the Ivy as we're heading down the course. Unlike the Sail Racing, they haven't managed to make up much ground. They'll be not very happy right now, I wouldn't think. But
well, I think it's going to get a little bit harder for them too, navigating down this run, where they've also got the 13s running down with them as well. It's going to just be a little bit more traffic that a few people are going to have to deal with.
Yeah. We're just down in the Bombora and unfortunately going past my son on the Employment Hero, and they have snapped their boom clean in half.
It does. It sounds like a bit of work for you tonight, Dom.
That'll be very disappointing for the boys.
So as we have a look at these guys, the leaders heading down here, the Domino's did a nice early drive and picked up a puff, and they've managed to sneak back in front of the Typhoon and the Musto. And they're actually putting a bit of pressure on the Noakes here.
At the moment, Paulie, the Noakes are struggling to make the gate.
I mean, and there's some big boys on the Noakes, aren't they, too, Dolly?
They are swinging hard, bridges, rolling that shit.
They've got that boom on the corner. It looks like they even have popped their top buttons at the moment, trying to go for a bit of reverse wingding action to try and generate some...
We've got them on screen there now, and
they're comfy.
It's getting a little easier, and they are going to lay it, but they had to work very hard. So anyone that tries to pull that stunt of a late jibe in the Bombora, like we saw on that last lap, they're not going to lay the gate.
No. So, you know, some people, if people are looking down the course, we might see a few boats that take an early step down and may make some really good gains there. You can just see now.
We're behind the Domino's there now, looking down on them. They're comfortably laying.
They're just going into a little bit of a soak mode. Now the Noakes
dropping, and it looks like they're going to go for
left turn.
Yeah, left turn on the right-hand mark.
Which is interesting. They're doing the opposite of last time.
Yeah, and we're going to see the Domino's who are off screen at the moment. They're jibe dropping and coming into the opposite mark. There they are on screen now.
Noakes on the other mark have just tacked straight over, so they're probably just hoping to be above that line of spinnakers coming down this time.
Yeah, it looked like a few people got caught up in that sort of bad air from the chutes.
Next around, Typhoon.
Yeah, now we saw Typhoon they not long before, but they had to do a bit of an early drop because they were a bit underlaid on that mark as well.
So this breeze has pushed through a little bit harder now too. We're looking at probably 14 knots up there, Dolly.
Yeah, I don't know that it's that much, Paulie, but 13. Certainly those puffs, there's a lot more than we had before.
Yep.
We're looking at Musto there.
And the first 13?
And the first 13 is Plonk, and they're going to drop and take that right-hand turn as well.
Yep.
But, once again, Hugh Stoddart with a nice run, staying in contact with his opposition.
We're going to have a little bit of action here between two boats that got pretty close the other day as well. Sail Racing Luckily, the SKE just got in front of them. The Sail Racing have got some wheels on them at the moment, don't they?
They are. They have come charging through, and let's keep it upright, boys, please.
Come on, TP, get out there.
Up he got. And he's got some work to do to get that kite in the bag, as does Tribeca, as does Fluid. Everyone's gone very late on the drop, except for Light and Wonder. Light and Wonder will benefit here because they're already 2 strings and going fast. They'll get over the top of it, least Fluid. Yeah, they do have a chute. That's right, Jimmy. Van Munster boat.
And you can just see that they've clocked into that high groove that we were talking about earlier, which has just allowed them to get a little bit of a gap between them and the boat below.
Yeah.
And really sail freely without any bad air from the boats around them.
Some of those tailing 13s coming in now, and we've got Fluid and Shearline have made a good advance. They're right on the tail of Ebix now.
Yep, and just there swimming is the botany scaffold, Dol.
Uh-oh.
And here comes the moon and into this bottom mark, giving a few of these 13s an experience.
Yeah, the overhead shot shows the chaos that's ensuing there at the right-hand gate.
And that was very well done by these guys in both the 13s and the 16s there to navigate around a mark in a situation that's a bit uncommon to a few of them.
Off screen, I'm electing to go to the other marks, so I just don't want to get in the conga line and
give themselves an opportunity.
Yeah, I think you'll find they'll tack over pretty quickly though and get themselves back over to this Bombora side of the course. Looks very, very soft over on that right-hand side. You don't want to be over there, I don't think.
Yeah, it's almost like there's a big L through the course at the moment, isn't there? Coming from the bottom mark up to the Bombora and then across the bay of Manly Bay in that pressure line. Here we are on the NHS. Sitting just below the Southerly, Zoe Dransfield, the leader of the ladies division in the competition this week. And there's the moon, and they're coming back through this fleet. I think they'll be liking there being another kite run down to this finish. They can get some clear air down one of these kite runs. We know those boys have got a bit of speed downhill this week.
Yeah, a lot of these guys will be happy that it's a 2-lapper, not it's a 3-lapper, not a 2-lapper, because it gives them a little bit of extra time to try and claw back some of that loss. They've got a lot of loss to claw back.
It's just a little bit different as well with this shorter course racing though, Dolly, because you don't get a run to try and extend out and get those gaps. So we are seeing these really tight mark roundings every time, aren't we? And then it's almost like a compression of the fleet, and then we almost restart again.
Yeah.
It's not the traditional skiff racing that we're used to here on the Manly track.
No, very, very few passing lanes on this downwind too, because it's really one leg across on starboard to the Bombora marks.
It's just trying to time that jibe with that pressure line that takes you all the way to the bottom,
one long port jibe down to the gate.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple of those more fancy boats that are a bit deeper actually have a bit of a crack with an early jibe this time down to try and get themselves a keeper.
Yeah, so we've come from that drone shot over the gate. We're now looking from the cat at these leaders. Once again, we're seeing the Noakes boys, no surprise, very smart, keeping themselves to weather of the opposition. That way they can't get an advantage over you. If they tack off, get a gain, you can tack, and you've just seen that example there. So you just saw Typhoon and Dominoes both tack, and straight away the Noakes boys, they flopped over, put it in their face. They'll be giving them some dirty air, disturbed air off their sails.
And that's about eight mast lengths for the viewers at home is where the dirty air sort of expires. So
yeah.
And do you think they'll be doing like we're saying this left is favoured, Dolly? Nice tight cover if the other boat tries to go to the left, and then if you want to, you can then extend out to that where you want to tack in a nice puff going back.
Yeah, well, looking at this breeze and the pressure that we've got at this top end of the course, they can keep punching to the left until they get to that port hand lay line.
Well, you'd almost be happy to sail the boat behind you to that lay line, wouldn't
exactly.
you? And then they've got nothing else that they can do to try and get past you.
Yeah, and now you're seeing there now the Noakes has tacked, and I would guess that we're not in line with them, but you can guess that they'd be pretty close to that port hand lay. and that also forces these two boats behind them to either go in line with them or a bit beyond so that they can stay out of that dirty air that we were talking about before.
Or think that they're going to try and get something up there but actually have to sail a bit further distance.
Yeah. We've still got spectators on the course here. What Shippo call them, Jimmy? Kumquats?
No, they're the high speed normal pleasure boats, the gin palaces at full noise, where they're digging the largest hole they possibly can in the harbour.
They're the kumquats.
They're the kumquats.
Okay.
So
Shippo with his kumquats and Bucko with his catabatic breezes.
Oh, I love a catabatic breeze.
and water temperatures off Lord Howe Island, mate.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that's relevant. So we've got the Noakes on final approach to the top mark. They aren't far off the ley line, I don't think, but they will be putting in a tack and maybe a 50 metre starboard tack into the top mark.
I think it's quite a bit less than that, actually.
Yeah.
I think it could be 10 to 15.
Yeah, the angle's a bit deceiving from where we are. We're sitting to windward of them here. We're just panning out there, give you a bit more of an overview of looking down the course. And once again, under this headland of North Head, a little bit softer and patchy at the top end of the course.
And it's exactly as you said, Dolly, as we look back here. The Noakes picked their lane back perfectly, and the boats that sailed fast past them a little bit in the Typhoon and the Dominoes have always dropped back down into their line.
And they look to me like they're heading at the moment.
Yep.
So even though they tacked probably 20 metres to weather of the Noakes line, they've ended up at the mark on the same line as the Noakes. So that's translated to probably a 30, 40 metre loss to both that second and third boats.
So this is, for the Noakes now down this run, it's all about timing this jibe for them. They're going to get the dream run where they can do what they want. But it's, as we've seen today and yesterday, if you jibe too late, it's a passing lane for the people behind.
17-second lead here to Typhoon. Domino's hot on their tail.
I'll be expecting the Dominoes to do the same thing again this last time. They took that early jibe and made some really good gains.
Yeah, and also we've seen in the past, actually, I'm just looking at Musto over my shoulder, that he's, for some reason, overlaid this top mark coming in on starboard. He's given SKE Electrical a real opportunity to steal.
I think the SKE Electrical is going to sneak in there.
They're going to steal
And
fourth place.
just to the right of that drone shot there, we've actually got a double-ended big Manly ferry just about to carve its way back towards Circular Quay, and this is the one that they have to give way to.
They do, and looks like the top three, I think, will cross it. Jimmy, would you agree?
You'd hope so.
I actually don't. I think the Musto is going to be the unfortunate boat here. Unfortunately.
There it is, just in the right of the shot.
Yeah, the ferry you can see coming in from the right-hand side. So Domino's has elected to jibe early, which he'll be running parallel to the ferry, and that is not a great idea.
Which is what we alluded to earlier on in the week, is that this ferry will do the same relative speed, but looking at the angle that they're on there, Dole,
they will cross.
They might cross, but...
I'm not as confident as you boys on this one. So
the drone shot's making it look like they're about half a mile in front of the ferry. Trust me, it is a lot closer than that.
I'm very suspect on this, especially how strict some of these ferries have gotten lately. I think they could do themselves a little bit of a mischief here. I reckon this ferry's about to take a left-hand turn.
Yeah, the ferry will, and Domino's is across. But unfortunately for both Musto and SKE, you can see them on screen now. So SKE's jibe, Musto a bit more experienced in dealing with the Manly traffic. He's chosen to take the stern of the ferry, keep his air clear.
It is Kumquat Central Day here today.
That's Peter Muller.
I don't give a hell who it is.
I'm thinking that SKE has just given that position back to Musto because SKE is going to get caught. You can't see them at the moment, but they're on the other side of the ferry from where you're looking on your screen.
I find that quite interesting with the amount of sailing that Harry Price has done out of this body of water, that he sort of made a mistake of this nature.
Yeah, so they've just gone out of picture. They've just jibed. I know they're ragging to try and get behind the ferry. They've had to let the ferry go past them. and now they're up and running again. They actually had to back off, let the ferry go past, and now they've jived.
I think it's still going to be quite. Oh yeah.
No, advantage
Just
Musto for
advantage
my
Musto.
money.
Hold on, let's talk about this on screen. But we go back
Oh,
round
someone's
to the,
gonna win the race,
to
aren't
the
they,
right,
Jimmy?
and then we've got Noakes. Robbie, we just come a bit more round to the right.
So the Typhoon's fully lit up here. They got Zach out there throwing his huge at the biggest shoulders in the fleet at it. And Mal working that chute to try and you can just see him just starting to roll that edge to ensure that he makes it up towards the pin. Because there is a little bit more pressure coming. They'd just like to get a bit more height in the bank, wouldn't they? Height before they.
Yeah, there's plenty on them, and they're actually struggling to make this pin end of the finish line at the moment.
Well, would you say they're one of the lighter fleet crews out here as well?
They're not that heavy.
Oh, there's not much of Mal, is there?
No, there's not. And Zach, although he's built, he's very very big and strong, and we've seen them had to drop their kite. Like
So-
I thought,
The Typhoons had to drop the chute, and now Zach's going to earn his keep now.
they are going to get through it before Domino's. Though I
Oh.
think they'll get in at this pin and just duck in front of Domino's. Domino's on a charge coming in with the chute on.
Well done, Ty. That's a great bit of boat handling from them there to get that chute away.
Yeah.
Keep Zach on the wire and manage to sneak in through there.
So there's Domino's in third place.
Coming down now, as Dolly alluded to earlier, Advantage Musto from SKE's that'll run in with the ferry.
Yeah, so they both of them had to make a decision there, and probably Hughes' experience at Manly paid dividends there, electing to go behind the ferry.
Now, I reckon a lot of these boats have misjudged this lay a little bit up the course, Dolly. What do you think?
Yeah, similar to what these next three that we're looking at now. They're okay. They're going to have an easy lay in, but as with the Typhoon, we're looking at up course a bit further. What would that be? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've got Imey, and I'm not sure who's behind them. It might be maybe Tribeca, is it? I can't see.
Yeah, it's very.
Moon and the weather of them on a fairly easy lay into the finish, but the breeze, lucky for them, the breeze has just softened off a bit, and they've actually bow up now, and they'll lay it quite easily.
The Moon and the Imey have done well to come back from where they were, didn't they? As
Yep.
well as the sail racing.
So sail racing on screen there.
Light and Wonder coming in after SKE for 5th and 6th, I believe.
Yeah, Light and Wonder, they're sailing very well. We've got
Sail racing
sail
3
racing,
for 7th.
big comeback. Saved your bacon, Paulie.
Yeah.
Your pick for the day. Ruffy's letting me down.
Here's the Skelcon just crossing the line.
We'll just get out of Imey's way here. So Imey, and I was right, it was Tribeca on Imey's tail there.
They've got a little rip in the front edge of that chute, though.
They do. Lucky all those telltales will tell them they've got a problem. There's Moonen just soaking down, and they will be followed up by the Fluid.
Fluid. Good day for the Fluid boys.
They'll be pretty happy with that result.
Just working their way into the regatta, those guys.
So we're looking down there at the
Infinite
moment
rigging,
on
and then
Infinity rigging.
and then next white one is RW Retail from Queensland. And one after that is
Shebang.
Shebang,
Shebang.
King. That's got to be his race of the regatta.
Well, he can't be too far behind the Fluid, can he? They've been pretty inseparable all week.
Yeah, Nozomi just throwing in a jibe there, Chapo. He's got starboard advantage here over NHS.
Oh,
But I think NHS probably just snuck over the line before them there.
no, I'd say Nozomi.
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 Okay.
And then the
blue mark,
NHS
Dolly.
going
Oh,
across
blue
now.
mark. Sorry,
Yep.
I was looking at the gate mark.
First girl through. Southerly.
Southerly.
Zoe Dransfield there with Timmy Lees, and they do have Steve Cotton back on today. That's a bit better. I bet they're sort of back in play again. That was a nice race from them.
I think they've got a good lead in that girls.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
This is Kamikaze coming to the finish line from Middle Harbour.
It's another good race for them after a good one in the second one yesterday.
Yeah, they've been a surprise.
Then my pick, Eric Storage, possibly be next. So I'll put the blocker on them. Sorry, boys.
Yep. And you can see coming in from their right-hand side, the other white spinnaker just gone out of shot is Cunningham's.
If we get around to the right of this shot here, Rob, we've got an accident between Bartley, 16, and Plonk, who was leading the 13s.
Yeah. Oh, that's nasty.
So
it looks like they're okay.
They're out of it, yep.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Plonk's got away with, fortunately.
You can just see the E-Bigs there in the race for the 13s coming down
In the
behind
background.
them. It looks like the Plonks managed to get themselves free there, which is good because we wouldn't have liked to have seen something like that disturb their race.
They've just got the fire stopping there. They've got all sorts of problems here, the Plonk, although they are just dropping their spinnaker. And what are they up to?
Penalty
They're just off
turns,
screen
I dare
there
say.
again now.
Looks like the Plonk.
And this
Looks
is
to me like the Plonk
this is
think
the
they've got
definition of
another
a
lap to go.
kumquat just about to come on screen. There you go. Charging through, the kids hanging over the bow. Good look.
So Ebix has just crossed the line and taken the gun in the 13. So,
And the Plonk seems to be going up for another lap.
yeah.
Maybe they've misread the signals
now-
they have. They're turning
And
back.
now they're turning back. That's a tragedy for
disappointing.
them.
That's what we call a sausage manoeuvre. I was pretty known for doing those ones.
And you're just about to see coming into screen above them, there
Cigar.
they are now, is the Bartley 13, which is going to roll Plonk for another place, I think. Cybertech on screen there now.
So it looks like the Bartley's going to get through for second.
They'll get through for second. Plonk will sneak through there now for third.
Cybertech.
Cybertech and then Shearline.
Well done.
And we're looking from above there now with the blue spinnaker.
It's the in
Sheds Real Estate. Marilyn Sorensen.
It is too, yeah. That's a better race from Marilyn and the boys.
got a tight finish between them and the Endenda
Yeah.
at the other end of the line. I'd say the
Ooh.
Endenda just got them.
Just.
I think the
What's that next 13 sausage? My old
That's a 40.
That's number 40. And they'll be followed up by the Fluid. And we had
40 is cheeky from Hornsby Karingai.
the Karingai boat.
Yep.
They'll be happy with that.
And earlier, Dole will handed a bit of paper from the fine gentleman from Hornsby Karingai, just to give some background to the viewers of all about Hornsby Karingai Sailing Club.
Yeah, I've been up to Hornsby quite a bit, which is why I spoke about the tide up there before. It's an amazing little club that's tucked in on its own private little beach. You can only get there by boat or walking over the top of the headland. It's an absolute magic spot where they've got their little club there. They started sailing in 1969, and they've got 100 kids sailing there. So their junior sailing program is fantastic. They sail Manly Juniors and Flying 11s. In recent times, they've taken on the 13-foot skiffs, even though they're not a skiff club. Technically, they wanted a direction for their junior fleet to go in and have a boat to step up into, so that they weren't losing the kids from their club. Last year, James Downey and Sam Skeen, they won the 13-foot skiffs up at Belmont, and although they did all their junior sailing out of Hornsby Karingai, and also the Downey family, who they're on Fireball and 13s, and they also boast Dave Giles, who won an Olympic medal with Cole Beashall in the star class. I didn't even know this until they told us that Gilesy was originally from Hornsby Ku-ring-gai.
The mighty Llama didn't know something.
There was something I didn't know, Jimmy.
Jesus.
Wikipedia let me down.
So, yeah, so that's a bit of background on the Hornsby Ku-ring-gai Club, which is great to have them involved in the 13-foot skiffs, and obviously the other junior classes that Manly supports there in the Manly Juniors and Flying 11s.
Yeah, and it's a voluntary club, obviously. It's not a commercial club, which is always tough for those small clubs to stay afloat. But with a great bunch of volunteers and enthusiastic parents, they've done a really great job up there to keep kids and get kids sailing and keep them in sailing.
Great to hear. There's one of their 13s on screen with a blue and white spinnaker. That's number 9, which is Angus Stewart and Hugo Kemp.
We've seen quite a bit of them this week, haven't we? They've been pushing towards the front a little bit for a few races.
Yeah. Good and bad. Good and bad. I think they might have got in a bit of trouble in that race somewhere along the line. Who are we on there?
It's still the number 9.
Number 9. Yeah.
MH44 over there. That's a product just about to cross the line. Young Eva Atwood, she was a product of the 29er program from up at RPA, and
yep.
just stepped up into 16-foot skiffs this season at Middle Harbour. So, look at that. Commentator's curse hits again.
Down. And we've got another, I think the Manly Sailing 13 has gone over as well, about only within a stone's throw of the finish line. Unfortunately, the tide isn't going to help them get over the line. That's them on screen there now. That's the Manly Sailing 13.
27 is Black Cat from Hornsby Ku-ring-gai, and
it's great those kids have made the effort to come and make up what is a great 13 fleet of this Nationals.
and they're all extremely young, like in the 13s. So speaking with Matt Trigolane earlier in the week, there's strong inquiries, and when he says strong inquiries, he's like they're willing to put the money down on 4 or 5 new
boats,
new 13s, which is great to hear.
Yeah.
And he said there's loosely another 5 that are, if it happens, that it'll happen. So you might get a call off Thorpe Dolly to go and help him out, do some supervising.
I've told you, Jimmy, I'm retired. I've been roped into a few repairs on the Typhoon and a couple of other boats this week, but I'm definitely retired from building boats these days. But I think with going back to the 13s, I think what you guys are doing, showing brilliant pictures and showing the racing, we'll see kids that are in Flying 11s or other classes that are seeing how much fun these guys are having on the 13. They're a pretty fun boat to sail.
Yeah.
It can only help the class grow, hopefully.
So while we were waiting on the start of race number 8, which is actually in honour of the Manly Surf and Slide team, which was Davey O'Connor, Trent Barnabas, Rob Napper, Joe Turner and Ben Bianco, which Ben jumped on there when Joe famously broke himself in half.
Broke his foot, wasn't it?
Probably pretty close. Broke his hand, I believe.
No, you're right. Sausage, yep.
The mast, in the top of the mast, come down and smack his arm. His hand on the side of the boat.
That's right. Yep.
Pretty close to where we're sitting in the camera cat right now. It happened, isn't it?
A sinking spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a photographer got some pretty good shots of that.
He's given it away, that photographer, though, now, hasn't he, Jimmy? He's too busy pushing buttons on a computer somewhere.
He's part-time now.
But, yeah, what a great team. They've obviously DNA came into that boat from those boys sailing on different boats, and they came together. And pretty formidable team, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They were pretty unstoppable. Like I know Joe, one of very few people who can get Baz to change a sail shape. So the boat was pretty electric. And there's the boys on Moonin.
Giving us a wave. Thank you, Matthew. Red jersey will be... we'll see if they're still in that red jersey at the end of the day, shall we?
I have faith.
I won't pick you this time, Ruffy. If you end up watching this back, I'll take the curse off.
But with the Manly surfing side, Jimmy, it's a lot of that crew you sailed with yourself. It's like the core of it. Ben, Joe, Trent.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ben, Joe.
Yeah, I never sailed with Trent.
Rob.
He always filled in for me, and then I'd have to take the boat straight down to Dolly's the week after and
He's broken it.
have him put the boat back together for me.
And they sort of built on the systems that you had a few more years, the mighty fire stopping team, and turned it into the surfing side almost.
Yep.
And went on to win 2 themselves down here at Middle Harbour probably 3 or 4 years ago, and then I think the year afterwards up in Queensland, was it, with Dave afterwards. No, they were definitely quick through the water, knew where they were going, and made some good decisions around the race course.
What's that red and white flag mean, Paulie? And if you say Middle Harbour Yacht Club, I'm going to clip you across the ears.
That's the Danish flag, I'd say. It's
Danish, come on.
4, isn't it?
4, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm learning.
Middle Harbour Yacht Club Burgee.
It's like the Danish flag.
And Joe always claimed to be the greatest sailor to ever come out of Gosford too, was his famous claim. I think a red-headed bloke called Tom Slingsby might argue the toss, and I think his brother might argue the toss on that as well.
I think there's that other bloke, Tom Burton, that's
Tom
pretty
Burton
good as well.
Yeah. But yeah, Joe loves to put that one out there. But it shows that club in their junior program back then, they had pumped out some pretty handy sailors, right?
Well, there's also another bloke from up there, James Doran. He's won a couple of these national titles.
Dozer was from Gosford originally.
Yeah. So
Okay.
all 4 of them were at school together at one stage. I think they had a pretty formidable school sailing team that came down and gave everybody a touch up.
Bit of a touch up, yep.
Tom, Joe, Charles.
Charles Doran. Yep.
There were 6 of them up there that were very, very good sailors coming through at the same time.
And we're hoping to see Mr. Slingsby this afternoon pull out some good results over in Singapore.
I thought you were going to say you hope to see him back at the club. I'm going, Dole, I think he's got other things on. So
we won't be seeing slingers.
If we see him at the club, we know there's a problem.
We do see slingers at the club from time to time whenever he's in town, but he certainly won't be there this afternoon. And he certainly doesn't qualify as an old buffer either.
Well, I mean, he sailed at Nationals last year, didn't he? Got
He
a
did.
3rd, good result.
5th? 3rd, 5th, I thought. Anyway, last year they sailed the fluid.
Pretty good for first grade.
I think to get that boat into that position too last year was probably a pretty good effort. Those guys can sail.
Yeah, he had a little bit of help from a few friends, didn't he?
Yeah. But yeah, Tom Slingsby, Nathan Outridge and Ian Jensen Goobs. Everyone was a bit terrified before that regatta.
And just for the viewers at home, the 16-foot skiff results are up on the website, which is www.manly16s.com.au. So go and have a look there and see the guys and girls, and and have a look at the results and see the latest update, and we can go from there. 13 results won't be too far off being up for the people following the 13s.
Just having a look at those points myself right now, Jimmy, and obviously we've seen a little bit of a change in that Typhoon is still first, Imey second, but Noakes has moved up the leaderboard into 3rd place, pushing Sail Racing down to 4th, and Moon and Yachts in 5th.
What's the points there, Dol?
Okay, so series scores, we have Typhoon on 19, pretty decent gap back to Imey on 30, and then it's tight with Noakes on 32, Sail Racing on 33, and Moonan on 34. So only 1 point separating those third through to fifth position. So, like we were saying, it's tight at the top. But Nathan and Mal and Zach, they've gone out to an 11-point advantage.
Yep, and earlier today I caught up with Nathan Wilmot, who we can, for a little quick chat while he was trying to rig the boat. It took us about 15 minutes to be able to get him, but here he is.
I was sort of getting to that point of the awkward handshake. There you go. Getting to that awkward time of deciding what jids and so forth. How are you finding it, defending champion? You sort of been a bit of a up and down, all over the place sort of breeze this series. How are you finding it?
I mean, it's getting a bit of everything at the moment. It's challenging. Yesterday was a challenge, but we got through with not too bad a day. Well, ended up being a pretty good day compared to a lot of boats. So we're just still trying to chip away and keep getting as good of results as possible and see where we end up at the end of the day.
Yep. No, you're obviously the master of dealing with these sorts of longer regattas and things like that. Those at home that don't know, Nathan's Olympic gold medalist in the 470s, and this is his sort of management skills of these regattas makes it exceptionally well. But I've been informed by Kimberly that your three generations of Wilmot sailing.
On the team side of it, and Zach.
And young Zach in the background, 3 generations, so pretty handy knowledge. Roll buffers day.
Yeah, it's scary. I hadn't really thought about it too much until Mum mentioned it today, and it's also my grandmother's 106th birthday today.
Mate.
It's a bit scary, but it's good. Be here the 100th year and have the regatta here and be in the position we're in at the moment. It's quite nice. 3 races to go. We'll see. Hopefully we're still here at the end.
Mate, good luck, and
thank you very much.
All the best, and go the mighty Typhoon.
Yeah, thank you guys.
There it was, catching up with the great Nathan Wilmot, and for any of the kids that are down around the club, they've got their own amazing little cheer squad down there for the Typhoon. But Mal and Nathan, both gold medalists, both very approachable guys, and more than happy to give their time to the club and to anyone who asks for it. So don't be afraid if you see them to say g'day, they won't bite.
Do you reckon they can give me a hand?
Paulie, we need more than their help, mate, I can assure you. But there's one good thing, Dole, like a lot of the Olympians and so forth, and they're all great for access for our juniors. And I remember when Pagey won the gold medal, and he kindly donated his time to come down and chat to all the young kids, and 2 of those kids were Jake and Zach Barnabas, who were absolutely in awe of him, and now Zach's sailing with him.
Yeah. I've got a photo of my kids with the gold medals on, and all Pagey, TB, Slingers, all those guys. You ask them, and if they've got the time, they're busy guys, right?
Yeah, very.
And I'll include girls. Lisa Darman, an absolute legend for doing this sort of stuff. You ask them, they're very busy. If they've got the time, they show up, whether it's to have a chat, hand out some trophies, bring down their medal. The kids, see the kids' faces light up. Really inspirational. Great to see them, people giving back. And, that's one of the great things about our sport, isn't it?
Yeah, well, most sports, you hear like a lot of the other sports as well, like the medalists like to, they go back to their own clubs and whatever else and do the same sort of thing. Sailing's not a unique one, but our community is such a small community, being the sailing. It's great, and the kids do get a lot out of it, and a lot of the young ones, that becomes their ambition to go on with in life.
Yeah, and it may not just be that Olympic dream. It's just getting kids into sailing, getting them to love their sailing is the most important thing. And I say to all these kids, they get all worked up about their results, and it's like, enjoy your sailing, love your sailing, go sailing, and the results will come, because it's all about spending time in your boat.
I did one regatta with Napo in a 470, and that was the end of my Olympic ambitions, mate. Well, I was like, no thanks, see you later.
Well, you need deep pockets these days too. So you don't just need talent, you need deep pockets.
And Dolly, quickly, just not on screen, I can see right up at Manly Wharf a yellow spinnaker with the Employment Hero logo heading this way. So fingers crossed they might get down here. They've got, I think it's 5 minutes after the start of the 16-foot skiff signals when they happen, that they can start the race. So.
Yeah, I personally, looking at them now, Jimmy, they'll be pushing it to make it in time. I think they might, if the start line is still open, they might start and just try and still get a result and get a bit of practice. But they're a long way off getting down to here, and I would suggest that maybe they've pinched a boom off Andrew St John's boat, would be my guess.
Well, he won't be needing it today. He'll be doing a balancing act in the Skiff Club. So,
yeah, so
big shout out to all the old sailors that are gathering at Manly 16-foot Skiff Club today and enjoying your day.
I think it's a massive day out there, and Andrew St John, if I'm right, and that is your boom, I'll buy you one of those free beers that they're handing out at the club. But I'm sure as they approach the club there, and obviously people can see there's damage, what happens at the club is anyone who can help usually comes racing out, even if they are enjoying a beer in the club, and lend a hand, right?
Yeah, well, look, there's deck captain back there. They've hopefully heard us on the live stream if they're not all talking Swahili at this point in time. By the way, have you two brushed up on your Swahili just in case when I drop you back there?
I'm fluent.
Fluent? Good.
One sausage is a few in, he'll be right. A little bit more breeze here now, do you think?
I think it is.
Yep.
I think we're starting to look at a kind of more traditional nor'easter here, Dol.
Yep.
We can see those clouds up the top of the course starting to get a little bit wispy, getting a little bit of the thermal effect starting to occur.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, it really is pumping out of that kind of, up near the Skiff Club, down through the Corso, that low point in the land over Manly where we do, it sort of funnels through that area, doesn't it?
Yeah. Still direction pretty holding where it was, which is kind of unfortunate for the Employment Hero boys because they would be hoping that they might have to reset the course, which would buy them a bit more time.
Well, I think unfortunately for them, they've gone to 4 laps to accommodate this increase in breeze, which for me means they're probably not going to adjust the course at all.
Yeah, yeah, no need to lengthen it. Just go for another lap.
Yeah. I reckon they've got a chance. We're not in the signals yet, and they're halfway down. They'll definitely make it inside the 5 minutes.
Yeah, they will have eyes on this starting area, praying they don't see everyone lining up on the start line.
Do you think they're going for a Craig Nichols special? Drive round the pin and start straight away?
Could be.
Not far off the 5.
Yeah, we're hearing a countdown of numbers from the start boat now.
Yeah, this has got Fast Eddie written all over it.
Does a what?
Normally he used to go for the pin though, didn't he, Jimmy? He didn't like rounding the boats.
No,
these ones.
Quick drive drop at the pin and off he goes.
Yeah.
And sometimes he even looked good doing it.
So here we have on screen Zoe Dransfield and her team.
So just had confirmation that they haven't moved the top mark, so it's still at 040 degrees at 0.75 of a nautical mile. So thanks again to Jack Andrew on the start boat. Like, he's the one punching out all those results, so you guys are getting them quick at home. The 13 results are up in saying that, so jump on there, have a look at those results. But
Jack's also very good at feeding us some information about what's going on and what to expect.
Yeah. So with this increase in breeze, Dolly, does it change your predictions from the previous race, or do you think it brings some other boats?
Boat-wise?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not going to ask you to name a boat this time. You sunk some of my best mates in the last one.
I went first last time, so I better let you guys go
Well,
first this time.
if you need me to, I'm going to jump all over the Noakes early.
Yeah, I thought you might.
An increasing pressure with those boys, I think, makes them look a little bit better. And if I have to steal another one, I think this has got... I like the look of Trent and Rob in this a little bit more pressure too. Get Trent freeing up the shoulders, working a little bit harder and swinging swinging hard.
Yeah, they've got to get off that start line this time. There was a few of them got swallowed up in that start last time, and managed not to get back. But
that shorter line doll probably played a bit of part in that as well, and
made it hard.
Pump people out.
You can't fit 50 boats into a short line. So I'll go against. I'll put my Manly hat away, and I'll go with the Dominoes this time.
Yep.
They're showing good upwind speed, and to me this breeze looks like it's increased only slightly, but it's filled in more. It's more consistent.
Yep.
And their boat seems to be going through the water in their hands very, very well, and I think if they can just find that groove, they might be up there again. Jimmy?
Yes, Dolly.
Who do you like, mate?
Look, I think for mine, Moonen, they know their back's against the wall now. They're going to come out swinging.
Yes, indeed.
I'm expecting them to push this start line extremely hard.
Yes.
And if they do get to the front, Jimmy, I think this could be see you later in this breeze for those boys.
Yeah. And then the other one, who should I jump on? I reckon Tribeca. They're starting to get a little bit consistent there. So let's see if they can. Keegan's probably come good by race 8 that he might actually understand a 16-foot skiff again. So
just the boys have gone deaf enough that they're not listening to him anymore, and they're sailing the boat themselves.
It's Benny Bradley's little legs. Like, he just can't hike out far enough. It's a good match, but just off the right of the camera boat and sort of in the top right of screen, you can see Employment Hero, Dolly. They've made it
with the yellow spinnaker.
Yep.
It's going to have a minute to spare.
They're actually going to get here. They may not pick their spot on the line exactly where they want to be. There they are on screen now. So for me, that is a great sight. Disappointing last race. But I'm sure if Ben Thompson from Employment Heroes watching, he'll be very happy to see the boys back on the race course and giving it another crack.
Another one that we haven't spoken about too much this week is both Red Pumps boats. I think this could be playing into their hands a little bit. If they haven't drowned their sorrows too much, I think we could see them swinging for the fences here as well.
Yeah, they're going to be very disappointed with what's happened this week. They did a lot of work, and it hasn't paid dividends this week, unfortunately. But one boat that has really impressed me from Manly is Botany Access.
Yeah.
You know, they're 3 guys, club sailors who just love their sailing and having some fun. They've found themselves in the top 10.
Yeah.
Fantastic sailing from those 3 guys.
How do you think Jared feels being called a club sailor?
It's obviously all Jared's doing. Okay. So we're inside a minute. We're counting right down now.
All those big names towards the end of the line. Imey and Moonen taking a bit more of a conservative option in the centre there.
Looked clean to me. And
Fireball.
The man on the bow has just thrown his flag down on the deck, so that's a clean start, boys.
I think you've been working out all week to get that flag ready.
He was certainly expecting
Phil
to be
West
busy.
on the bow of the start boat there.
Is that who it is? Is it Westy, is it?
Yeah, he pleaded with Tinny, who owns the start boat, to come out today rather than stay at the club and for Old Buffers Day, so he just needed an out.
So great overhead shot of the fleet coming off the start line there, and at the windward end of the line we had Employment Hero and Cunningham's Tagara. Nozomi, once again, Chapo seems to like that top half of the start line. But down at the pin end, which to me looked like the favoured end, we've got Eric's, Red Pumps Red, Fireball, Skelcop, the Noakes and Typhoon NHS Hugh Stoddart, all those number, front of fleet players, they're at the pin end, and they're heading for that left-hand side we've spoken about, Paulie.
I like the lane of the boats that started about halfway up the line, Dolly. They're going to get a bit more tight, pushing them up the course for a bit longer.
Yep.
From last time, the people who banked into this corner a little bit early couldn't get back to that left-hand corner. They couldn't almost do the double in, which is effectively does it. It's just sort of like a racecourse management from that perspective. We've seen Dave Gilmore and Daniel Turner on the moon, and both start there with the sail racing very close to them as well. They both managed to keep their bows clean on this one, so we should have a bit more of a race with them involved.
Yeah, we were talking earlier in that first race on that first beat that coming into this bommy area can be a bit fraught with danger. But because the breeze isn't a true nor'easter, it's a bit more in the east, it means that the headland of the Bombora isn't really shadowing that inside area, and it's allowing them to come hard into the left without that danger of running out of pressure.
Yep.
And Domino's did that in the last race very well. You can see NHS, the most lured boat there on screen. They're getting through the water nicely, and they could figure in this race. Those guys are sailing well.
They sail the boat extremely well. I think they're just figuring out a few things about the 16s as a team as the week's gone on.
Tell you, but there on the left of screen is Tagara from St George having a blinder.
Yeah, they came off the start nicely as well.
That boat looks lovely in the park too, doesn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, the NHS, I've watched Tommy Dorso come up through the junior ranks. Not just a lovely young guy, but a super talented sailor, and he's still young. And I'm sure in the coming years we're going to see him, if he stays in the 16s, really push for a few titles. I think, as some of these older guys gradually hang up their belts.
What are you talking about, Noel?
Yours is long hung up, Jimmy.
I don't even know where it is anymore. I think it might be in storage.
Mine's in a spot that's really hard to find.
So we've got a bit hard to tell in the overhead shot here, but the most weather boat you can see just off screen now, but we've got the Noakes stepped out a little from Eric's NHS and Typhoon. Just coming in behind them, still on starboard tack, is Imey, not too far behind. So they should be in touch. We've got a lot of boats that have broken away early and went out to the right, including Cunningham's 5 stopping out back Marine. They're going to come back not too badly, but these front of fleet boats are going to cross them quite easily, I think.
Cunningham's have just got a nice high line there, though.
Yeah, they've just got a bit of a lift.
Just put their bow up, haven't they?
5 stopping right on their hammer.
I'd say, though, currently, Noakes leader on the race course. Just crossed in front of the Erics, and I would be expecting the Noakes possibly just to take one back into this corner again now, just to consolidate their position.
Yeah, once again keeping themselves between them and the opposition. They're just tacking over now. There they go now. And that's also allowed them to throw some dirty air onto Nozomi Fluid.
The Fluid having a day out.
Yeah, they're going well today. Maybe that rig tweaking that they were doing on the deck earlier has paid dividends.
So there's big compression in all of them here, isn't there?
Yeah, it's always tight this first beat. You can see them sailing over what we'd call the shallows of the Bombora there, in that overhead shot that has just gone. Noakes have tacked back now onto port, and as we predicted, they've just keeping themselves to windward of those other boats. They're not going to let them out of their grasp. And we've seen a few of them forced now to duck back out, including Imey and Tribeca, because they were copping a lot of dirty air with the compressed fleet.
That Eric's boat though, Jimmy, you might have just gone off a race too early. They are looking very slippery through the water out to front, aren't they? They look flat and fast, almost slightly into windward there in those gusts.
They are.
And they're just to the left of screen. They've put themselves power forward on this pack that we're watching at the moment. And they're not in that little fight with these groups here, are they? Just getting to free up their shoulders.
Yeah, that's right, Paulie. And also they'll be flopping over and coming back with the starboard tack advantage, right?
Yep.
So that should get them in a nice little position if they sail smart here. Just a couple of ferries making that. We've got 3 ferries all at once crossing the front of the fleet.
But there on screen, you can just see Noakes just now just starting to slightly put their bow down just to try and consolidate their position as it's just lined off a touch, just really going, hey, I don't want to let these guys race out to the right and possibly getting a little bit worried about Eric's, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm liking what the Nozomi's done on this beat too, Paulie. They've just gone a little bit soft now as I speak. Breeze has just left them, and also they're all having to take on the wash of 3 ferries that have just crossed the front of the fleet all at once.
They've just chomped through all this pressure, haven't they? And it's a bit of a whirlpool in there at the moment.
You can see 2 of them on screen there now that are circular key bound, and we've had one go the other way into Manly.
And the Eric's is going to be the first boat to get themselves out of that kind of ferry turbulence.
Yep.
It's just happened. I think it's pushed them up into the lead.
I think you're right, Paulie.
And then the other boat that's had a really good leg across here is the Moonin.
Yes, well, Jimmy was saying I didn't want to back them this race because I didn't want to put the mocker on them again. But, yeah, no, they've sailed a good first work and done very well.
You know, we've had a couple of flyers from out in the right-hand side that haven't done too badly. I mean, there is almost like a freight train of boats coming through from this left-hand side.
So there's the Eric's going around. Let's just watch them set and see how they go here. No pressure, boys.
Eric's with Noakes and Moonin and Typhoon. So the 3 jersey holders all coming around together.
Lovely set from the Eric's boys there. They'll be chafing at the bit to, for the first time, have 2 race wins in a national championship. They've won several individual heats.
Great set from the Moonin there.
Matty and Gus on fire. Typhoon and Noakes really giving themselves a bit of grief there. Probably Typhoon coming off second best.
Yeah. I mean, the Noakes just went round and took a bit of a deeper line. They had to try and manoeuvre around some other boats, and the Moonin just shot straight over the top.
And yeah, across the bow of the Noakes. A lot of boats compressed on the mark here now with Tribeca, Fire Stopping, Red Pumps, Red and Outback Marine, Tagara that we were talking about earlier.
If you get caught in that low lane here, you can easily lose 5 or 6 boats pretty quickly, can't you?
Yeah, one boat rolls you, and then you just keep waving them through, right? At some point, you've just got to stick your bow up and say no one else.
And Sail Racing has jibed off saying that, trying to look for a way back through this pack, because I know you're not going to get through following them here.
Yeah, Light and Wonder have done the same. They've jibed onto port, but in the shadow of all those compressed boats, they have 0 air.
And not only that, this the leader of this chase pack, they're all just gone bow down, and so obviously just hit a nice breeze line here.
I actually don't mind the jibe out there, guys. I think that it gives them a bit of freedom to pick their own course down here.
Calm down and get out there, right?
Yeah.
Like just
Yeah, I kind of agree with the tactic, but to me there's less pressure over there and more tide.
I've noticed Ruffy's been doing it when he's a little bit deep in a lot of these races on the Moonin. But he hasn't been doing it just on the mark. He's almost been extending out 50 metres and then jumping out.
Yeah.
Just clearing that vortex as you were alluding to at the mark, Dolly.
Yeah, going straight away at the mark is dangerous. So Eric's have really extended there nicely.
Yeah.
Ruffy's picked up a nice little bit of breeze, and at the moment we've got Noakes and Typhoon on screen, and you've just seen the Nozomi.
Lovely jibe in there.
But once again, Nozomi, I think they've left their jibe a little bit late.
Yep. Just a bit of course management issues from a few of these boats today, isn't there, Dolly?
Yeah. Yeah, but this long port jibe, even though the tide is carrying you up the course, which helps you get there. If you overstep that line a little bit, you're going to be not sailing your best angle and best speed into the game.
There's some big losses that can be made when you stuff that one up.
Yeah,
It is.
so Eric's have just done a short little starboard jibe just to get them down deep into the lay, and they're now back on port, sailing comfortably, good lay line to the gate. And they've got probably a 30-40 metre lead over the Moonin, and I don't know, I'm expecting the Moonin to come back strong here.
Well, I think the one thing though, I think what Ruffy will be really trying to do is trying to get some votes between him and these competitors. I think, you know, just even if he gets first and they get second, third, fourth, these other blokes in the top five, it's not quite enough for him at the moment. He's got to really try and turn the afterburners on and hope the Erics can go with him.
Yeah, but in saying that, the main players are with him, right? He's got Noakes there, he's got Typhoon there, and then, as you say, he needs boats in between.
Yeah. Hopefully those two can done some numbers in their head for Ruffy's sake, and they might have their own little private battle.
You're saying Gus and Matt have got to do the numbers, do they? Ruffy's not very good with numbers.
Well, I did some quick numbers myself before, and when you factor in a second drop, the Noakes is only 1 point behind the Typhoon on the top end.
Yeah.
So they're the two that are really put themselves in the box seat at the moment. And then the other three, the Imey, the Moonin and the Sail Racing, have got a bit of work to do at the moment.
Yeah. So on screen now, you've got Typhoon. Mal's still getting the kite away there. A little bit scrappy rounding. Followed by Nozomi on the inside of the Cunninghams.
And then on the other mark, you got NHS, Capital Brewing and SKE Electrical. So Jessica Isles having a lot better race this one around.
Great race from Jessica.
There's Imey and Fluid going around the right-hand bottom mark with Tribeca. That's my pick. Come on, boys. Left of the game.
Followed by Tribeca, followed by Hugh Stoddard, I think. So, yeah, we've kind of got the usual suspects, right?
Yeah.
Great to see Alex and Seb and Lockie in the fire stopping. They're having a great race this one, and hopefully they can hang on to that position.
I think if they can get round this mark before this big group of boats come round, they're going to get a nice little gap behind them.
Very messy in behind them.
Yeah.
The Tugara's in a whole lot of bother here.
Straight through the spinnaker on Kamikaze.
Kamikaze has been kamikazed by Tugara. We've got them on screen now, and that is going to take some untangling, I can tell you.
You've been in a few of those, Dole, I seem to remember.
Not as bad as that, I don't think. So their spinnaker is completely torn in half, which is a real shame.
It looked like they were prawning before they got run through the spinnaker.
Yeah.
So as you said, the fire stopping just got out of all that trouble, and it all happened right behind them.
They did. They just snuck through. Very lucky. We've had Dominoes go around the right-hand mark. Not quite where I expected them to be, but...
You talked up the boat that's going around the left-hand mark right now, the Botany Access, and sunk them as well, Dol.
Oh, no.
It'd be great if you could pull out the notes one of these days. Give somebody a chance.
Mackie and Bridgie and Dave are good mates of mine.
Are you trying to say Ruffy, is it?
No, Ruffy's a mate too.
No, but Ruffy's got smaller hands than Pete Mackie.
Matty Stenner doesn't.
I don't want Pete Mackie coming after me. So we're just looking on the shot there now up into the Bombora. You can see there, once again, we've got the 16s getting mixed into the 13 fleet there. It's taking some good navigational skills from everybody involved to keep clear and make sure there's no more accidents like the one we just saw.
Seems to me that the Noakes is going very quick through the water upwind at the moment. They've taken a lot of time out of the Moonin here. I think they're going to be very close bow to bow. Perhaps even ahead.
One thing I have noticed with the Noakes in that last beat, I was just comparing a few boats. They seem to be carrying a little bit more twist. in the mainsail than some of those other boats, which kind of surprises me. They're one of the bigger crews, and yet they're carrying a little bit more mainsail twists than others. And we just got behind them and Eric's just then. They've both flopped onto port tack. Can't really see the behind shot now, but we can see that there's just a little bit more twist in the Noakes rig, which seems to be working for them. But
I know Dave plays a lot more vang than other people in the fleet.
Having sailed with Bridgie and Mackie myself, there you can see it on screen there now. You can see that mainsail twist in the head of the main, and as Paulie was just saying, the boys have always been very big on the skipper, constantly playing the Vang and the Cunningham, and when I sailed with them, they were always you're always almost playing the Vang and the Cunno more than you're playing the main sheet.
Yeah, and from my experiences in these boats, it's a little bit different to the way the Moonans sails.
Yep.
They sail a lot of main sheet movement, a little bit more Vang in general than a lot of other people, especially when you start getting that two-string going, and then they really try and drive off that main when they squeeze it on. It's a lot about the sheet hand really feeling that speed off it, and letting the skipper know, hey, we got more height here, we got more height, and then just being able to duck away when you feel you're going to lose it. We should get a good view here from both of them if we can.
Yeah, so we're looking at the back of Eric's now. You can't really see that leech profile on them now, but they're a little bit tighter in the leech than these other guys.
They look like they're sailing with a lit flatter sails too, aren't they? A bit lighter.
And a higher mode.
Yeah.
From what I can see. Like you were saying, Paulie, they're very flat, over flat.
Yeah.
And they sail that higher mode, so they're not looking for out and out speed. They're just trying to manage the balance between the two of speed and height.
Yeah.
To me, Moonan and Noakes are sailing more of a boat speed group, and I think Typhoon as well.
Yeah, Typhoon definitely. But it's important, the one thing that I think for these guys to get as they get up towards, especially in these nor'east conditions, you've got to be able to switch between the two modes, which is, I think, the thing that the Noakes is doing the best at the moment.
Yeah, I think when you get up here into when there's no ferries and stuff, you get into the flatter water, that high groove that the Eric's is sailing can be quite successful. And then when you're in that lumpy stuff, obviously you've got to keep the boat moving through the water, right?
As we say that, the Moonan's just having to duck the Noakes off screen.
Yep,
and I'd say we've got a new leader on the race course,
which is the Noakes.
Yeah, the Noakes, and we've got NHS on screen there now, but there's the Noakes now, and you can see that they're getting through the water quickly. Okay, they're sailing a little bit more eased and just swinging hard and pushing the boat fast.
Not much cunno on there either, is there?
No, you can see the wrinkles in the bottom of the main there.
And just watching Ricky Bridge there, just adjusting the jib, it suggests to me that they were probably on lay or just a little over lay, and now the breeze has shifted as it does when you get over here and knocked away.
So I found out the other day the Noakes is the old River Wild.
It is, yeah. So Warwick Brooklyn won the national title 2 years ago at Gosford in that boat.
Yeah.
But do they have to go buy a second rig for it?
But in saying that, Pete Mackey has basically deconstructed the entire boat.
Yep.
And it's as good as a new boat with improvements.
Well, Pete said he chose that one because it hasn't had too many miles done on it.
True.
Been very well looked after professionally, and thought that there wouldn't have to be too much he had to do in that sense, but I don't think Mackie can help himself, can he?
And also at that point in time with COVID and everything, the new boats from the association skiffs were a bit hard to come by.
Yeah.
He probably would have bought a new boat if he had the chance, but there wasn't a boat available.
So Noakes around first.
And up into second, SKE Electrical and Moonan Yachts hot on their heels.
Yeah.
The cheeky smile on Harry Price looking back at Gus Williams here will be...
Yeah.
If we could get that, it'd be great.
Yeah, a couple of good mates there, plenty of rivalry.
Very good mates. They've done quite a bit of sailing together, the three, Matt Stenner, Harry Price and Gus Williams.
And I predict Moonan's going to win the battle of the sets here. Windward set, it's a bit caught up. They were looking really good. I thought they were going to roll SKE there, but it wasn't to be.
Next around,
I'm still
NHS
confident
from
they're
Belmont.
off.
Then Eric's dropped all the way back.
Yeah, they lost a lot just in that last 300 metres.
Yep, next around, Typhoon.
Who've also dropped back a bit, right?
It seemed to the guys who pushed a little bit further left up at the top here.
Yeah.
Lost a little bit there.
Then in our 13-foot skiffs first time around, you're going to have Ebix leading from Fluid with Botany Scaffold in third doll, so you can be cheering as the Cunninghams comes around with Nozomi and Imi all in the mix.
Yeah, unfortunately, Fluid and Botany are both getting swamped by 16-foot skiffs in the traffic. Meanwhile, Ebix has had a great set and Clear Air, they are gone.
Look at the Ebix just having to go around the top of someone there. Fluid, another good race in the top 10.
Sail Racing, they paid off jibing at the top mark last time. They're back into not touching distance, but working away at it. You've got to remember this is a 4-lapper for the 16s, and for the 13s a 3-lapper.
It's a great set there on the Tribeca.
So still quite a long way to go, right?
Halfway point, Dole.
Yeah.
Not even.
And then you've got an outbound double-ended Manly ferry just leaving Manly Wharf.
Yeah, the bulk of this fleet should cross the ferry.
Yep.
At least the main players are going to have no issue. So good to see that won't play any influence in the race results that we're going to see.
The Noakes has cleared out a little bit there too, haven't they?
They have cleared out nicely.
But the NHS has come right into that battle for second and third.
Yeah, so that's playing nicely for both Noakes and Moonen, because they're putting boats between themselves and Typhoon.
Yeah.
We're going to see a real compression in the points at the front of the leaderboard at the end of this race if it stays the way it is at the moment.
Well, if it's the way it is at the moment, I'd say that the Noakes is 2 points ahead going into tomorrow.
What the mathematician you are, Paulie.
Yeah, that 4-unit maths paid off back in the day, don't it?
So we're nearly on board here. Jimmy's nearly getting on board with the Imi there.
I didn't have much choice, mate. We had that, or you carry that side of the boat, I'll carry this side of the boat, and we'll go ashore.
We found ourselves a meat in the sandwich there.
Yeah, they're just absolutely baffling that all these spectator boats find the narrowest point on the track to plonk themselves. Yeah, if you're going to sit there and watch it, just walk down from Dobroyd and sit on the rocks.
You might as well, right? Because they're almost in the same place.
Yeah. Yeah, but you want to be on the water.
Cunningham's also have moved through the fleet nicely.
They've been sailing really well these last 2 days. They've been very impressive, the boys, on that.
So they're currently sitting in 7th place with Nozomi and Imi on their tail.
So just these boats up the front here, we must have had a little bit of a shift in this pressure, because all of these boats are looking like they're going to have to do an early drop. I noticed the Noakes dropped early.
Yeah.
They do work back up towards that mark and whip their way around.
Now
Looks
we've
like
got Moonen doing the same.
this is a good test of boat handling in this little bit of luck down in this corner, isn't it?
Yeah, off screen.
It's on screen, they're just down
we're
there.
on there now. So the furthest left boat there you can see on your screen is Typhoon.
And
With the spinnaker down.
the moon and whipping it around that mark inside the SKE.
Yep.
However, the SKE getting a bit tighter rounding and putting a bit of pressure on them. We'll see if the SKE can live there.
And NHS off screen just taking the left hand mark.
With a bit of a bad drop. Then Eric's will be next around.
There they are now.
I feel this right-hand turn mark down here too, Dolly, is a little bit further up the course.
It is slightly favoured, isn't it? And once again, we've been talking the last couple of days about coming back underneath all the spinnakers coming downhill.
Yeah.
You take that left-hand mark, it's a little bit further upwind. You can just sail for maybe 50 or 100 metres and then you'd come back, would you think, Paulie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't... I mean, I think the NHS might go for gold here myself.
They do let you get out there, aren't they? But I wouldn't be surprised to see them come back fairly soon. Now, on screen at the moment, we can see Jive drop from Sail Racing, but he's got Nozomi and Tribeca inside of him, and he's going to be Buffalo Girls around the outside. Not a good spot to be in for those guys, and we've got Cunningham's taking the clear, and Ivy taking the clear air option of that left-hand turn that Paulie and I were just talking about.
So the E-Bigs here, clear leader in the 13s.
Yeah, look, they came around the top there and didn't get caught up in all the 16 action and really managed to escape. But the fluid's still hot on their tail.
They want to get that wine glass out before they suck it.
Drop that kite. No, they're going to suck the kite with the wine glass in, and we'll keep an eye on that at the top mark next time round. Hugh Stoddart in the Musto round behind Skelcon, I think it is there.
Red Pumps Red just the bottom left of the screen doing some turns there.
They must have infringed somebody down there.
Doing some circle work.
Lovely overhead shot there. Looking down on the gate, you can see the two marks bottom of screen. The boats coming in with their spinnakers up. Still a few overstanding that.
It just seems to be quite a tough one to judge, isn't it? Like it's...
Yeah, you get a big puff and get carded and you're not laying it, or you get a bit soft and you're going to put another jive in, right?
Well, from the Manly boys' point of view, though, guys, you've got to remember in a traditional nor'easter, you know, you're sort of pointing a little bit, you go further up when you're coming out, and you're not used to your bearings off where they traditionally go through over near the Bombora.
Yeah, true nor'easter, you're much more bow up on that port jive.
Yeah, I think it's also a little bit at the top of the course when they're jiving. We've got that left-hand pressure coming down and through. And then as they extend out into the heads, they start to get that sort of easterly slam.
Yeah.
Which is just catching them off guard about 100 metres away from the point.
You can see there's Red Pumps Red with Capital Brewing and Fire stopping. Capital Brewing, a little bit of a loss on that last lap.
Yep.
I'd say again from Red Pumps Red, even though Jimmy spotted them doing a couple of penalty turns for some reason.
Yep.
Just looking down the course there. We're just panning out. You can see
Sail Racing.
Sail Racing there with the Nozomi. So we saw Sail Racing come around that mark, the gate mark, and they were caught out to leeward because they had a bit of a scrappy drop. They got into the dirty air, and now they're just tacking out there now because Nozomi was really starting to hurt them. They need to get back into this points battle. Because at the moment they're just losing touch. Just losing touch with these top group of boats.
The NHS, with their little dig out to the far side, has made some good gains up here.
Well, we were talking about that clear air advantage. Yep. And also there's the tidal and more tide over that side, right, Paul?
Yeah.
And they've come in, they've crossed Moonan.
Yep.
And they're crossing Eric's, and they're going to be very close to having SKE Electrical on starboard here.
Yeah.
SKE's just going to sneak in front of them there.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, to the left of them, just off screen, we have Noakes.
Business as usual for Noakes at the moment.
Free to sail their own race. They've just tacked over on the starboard once again. Smart sailing, keeping themselves between their opposition and the top mark.
Unfortunately, I'd say the big loser out of this is the Moonan in this first part of this work. They seem to have slipped back in behind the Typhoon, possibly in 4th or 5th at the moment.
Yeah, we're talking about keeping between your opposition and the top mark, and that is what Moonan didn't do in those last couple of tacks. They allowed their opposition to get further to the north into the Bombora.
Yep.
And they've let them slip through. The big benefactor of that is the NHS.
Yep.
They're probably a clear, SKE just crossed them before, so that would tell me that they're in 3rd. But they're going through the water like a freight train at the moment, the NHS. Whereas we're looking at Noakes on screen now, they're just in a little bit of a soft patch, and NHS just approaching that sort of softer breeze now.
Well, this is the thing that we saw a couple of these other times here, this transition zone across this part of the bay. Sometimes it can pay to be a little bit bow forward on them, so you get to that pressure first.
Yeah.
Does look like there is a lot coming out of this little Manly area here, which I think Noakes is actually going to get first here.
Very patchy though, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Noakes have just picked up that pressure, and you can see them, they have just lamped a cover, like a tight cover on top of SKE. SKE having to tack out of there to clear their air.
And then I'd expect the Noakes to come out and do the same thing to the NHS here as well, wouldn't you, Doc?
And there they go now, Paulie. Well predicted.
And then they've got a very nice gust heading towards them. Dave's timed this one for them very well. We'll just expect to see an increase in boat speed and a little hook up to windward in about 2 to 3 seconds. There you go there.
Yeah, to be honest, I think if they didn't want to tack on top of NHS, then they would have just come a little bit further.
Got into a bit more of the meat of this gust up here.
Yeah, most definitely.
What do you tell the kids, Dole? Sail 2 boat lengths into the gust and then tack? Is that the simple one?
Yeah, pretty straightforward. And these guys have been doing it for a fair while. They know what they're doing. But yeah, they tacked a little earlier there just to put the cover on rather than get to that pressure early.
It's percentage sailing, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Yeah. They've just got to defend this lead, and they're doing it pretty well. So you can see SKE is tacked on the lay. Noakes tacked dead in front of them, and they're on an easy lay. They've probably overstood that just a touch. I think Noakes just went that bit further, thinking that SKE were probably on the lay line, but it's a pretty loose lay. And around, let's watch these sets, see how the guns do it.
Windward sets for all. Well, the SKE's got the shoot though, doesn't it?
They do, yeah.
Lovely.
Lovely set from the Noakes.
Yeah.
And away they go.
So St George boat leading with a Belmont boat second and a Belmont boat third.
Yep. Good to see it being mixed up.
Absolutely.
And you look at that, you look at the top 10, it's a great mix of clubs. Middle Harbour with the Eric's boys in there as well.
I mean, they've really pushed up into the moon in here as well, haven't they?
They have.
This is going to be nice and tight between these two.
Yeah, Ruffy will just slap one in to leeward of them here, I think. Here they go now.
And from what we've seen, you've got to have a bit of a gap on Ruffy around the top mark to be close to him at the bottom.
Yeah, Eric's with the pace though. They can roll over here.
Well done.
And there they go. Now they need a glamour set here. Leeward set from both boats makes it easy.
Lovely set from the Moonin. Unfortunately, Eric did the right thing though, just staying up a little bit high and almost blocking them from shooting through to leeward there, didn't they?
Yeah, good set from both boats, and then Typhoon just going around the top mark there, yeah.
Typhoon followed by the sail racing, tight with the Cunninghams. Probably round out the top 7 or 8.
So as you say, Paulie, I think it's advantage Noakes here at the moment.
Well, I think you'll notice here too that they've all the Noakes has jived earlier this time, and they've taken quite a nice lane down there, haven't they, Dolly? As you look out the left window.
They have. Once again, there's that left hand pressure.
Whereas the NHS was pushing harder into this right-hand side, and I think they might come into a little bit of grief down the bottom here. To be fair though, the SKE electrical looks like they've gone bow forward on the Noakes there.
They've rolled over the top there, yeah, you're right.
Got a bit of left-hand, right-hand slants, put a foot down the centre of the course.
There they are on screen.
We'll see them go into a soak mode pretty soon and try and give the Noakes as much bad air as they can,
yeah,
so they can get clear to jibe.
Dave's get down over there now.
Dave's a pretty wily little character though. He'll try and live there for as long as he can, and then slam him with a jibe at the same time, and give Scotty Babbage and his boys a bit of the same medicine.
Yeah, well, if Noakes jibe there now, it means they'll have to do 2 more. And that would just be handing it to SKE. What they need to do is take them out as far as they can until SKE's ready to jive on the starboard.
Well, I think sail them as close to lay as you can, and then
Yeah, here they go now. Notes have managed to jive inside of them, or there could be a bit of a luffing issue here.
I think SKE's going to breathe there myself, Dolly.
Yeah.
Oh no, they just can't.
And it's Noakes over the top. They took their pressure.
Well done to the Noakes boys there.
Yeah, and jiving inside there's given them boy room advantage at this gate mark, the right turn mark. Late drop on the SKE because they've got the spinnaker chute, makes it a little bit easier.
There's a few brains on these SKEs, isn't there, between Scott Babbage, Harry Price. I've forgotten the guy bloke's name up the front.
Who's
Just
on
have
the
a
list
quick.
there?
Joel Skelton.
Joel, that's right.
Yeah, I know he's done a lot of lazy sailing and stuff like that. And he's pretty cluey about all these tactical situations as well.
Yeah.
And looking back up the course, the Moonin and Eric's, and not so much the Typhoon at this stage, but they've looked like they're all tight on this lay coming in top of screen there.
We're seeing it run after run, aren't we? I mean, Typhoon, I think every run has overlaid this bottom mark, and they've done it again. Really struggling to make it to the gate.
And look at these NHS boys. Well, we thought they overdid it by a little bit. These others have really pushed it out there. I think the Moonin's actually taken a really nice line down there.
Yeah, the breeze has just softened a touch there now. They've just pushed ahead of that gust, and it's allowed them to go bow up a bit, and they're laying again.
Well, the body language on Typhoon there with
They're still
the
struggling.
imagined signage, sort of how flat the boat is, that they're relatively okay there.
Yeah, they're coming in hot though.
Yeah, but the boat's not up on its ear, and
Yeah.
they're setting themselves up here so they get a straight set at the top mark next time, giving themselves every little bit of advantage.
Yeah.
Not sure about the sail racing's manoeuvre coming into this mark. Doing a jibe, drop, and then they're about to do another jibe.
Yeah.
It's a bit,
Jibing practice day, Polly.
I wouldn't say it's classically the fastest way to get around a mark.
Definitely not.
So there's Typhoon and Sail Racing. They're taking the right turn and off screen at exactly the same time we've got Nick
Cunningham's.
Connor in the Cunningham's taking the left-hand mark.
This will be interesting because Cunningham's has been quicker in the water so far today, haven't they?
They have, and we saw last time, Paulie, taking that mark and doing that little bit of a leg up there paid dividends for the NHS, didn't
And
they?
there's the Imey just making sure they give himself enough room. Robbie he would have called from about 200 metres ago that he wants a jibe drop. He's not getting it. So
That's not going to happen.
Robbie would have been screaming as soon as they jibed on that one. Get me my jibe drop.
They won't jibe though. They'll take that left-hand mark.
yeah.
They did that last time. Fluid hot on their heels too.
Yeah, Rob used to love it when I could line him up a jibe drop, him, jump back out on wire, and I get the little, after he got settled, I get a little leg tap, sort of say thank you.
It's a bit different to what I used to get from Steve when I didn't get him a jibe drop. It was an elbow to the face next time I reached for the tack line.
Yeah. Yeah.
The cheek would grin when he turned around as he did
Yeah,
it.
it's Steve, the old wise bull, mate. He knows all the tricks.
I learned to dodge them pretty quick.
Off to the dentist on Monday. So pitchers on board Typhoon there now. You can see they're very light on controls at the moment too there, Paulie. Lots of wrinkle in the bottom of the main. It's a bit of outhaul ease. They're trying to find maximum power that they can get out of the boat.
Yeah, it's a very different setup to the way that the Erics and the Moonin have got at the moment. They're almost a little bit more bolted down with all their settings, aren't they?
They are.
A lot flatter in the foot.
You expected more on the Eric's, being a bit lighter
Yeah.
crude.
You can see the comparison there now. You can see the...
Well, you
But
can
that's
just
very
see
similar
Ruffy
setup.
there just doing adjusting now, like he's playing with all the canoes and the bang just there, just trying to get it to work.
And he's having trouble living in that lane.
Yeah.
Just very tight behind him. The Erics is hurting him there.
They almost look a little bit hooked up at the top of their name there, don't they? And then he's making some good gains into him boat speed wise, but I really feel that the Erics has just got a lovely groove there, and they're just going to try and sail around the front.
Yeah, well, we were talking about before their ability to sail that high line. Makes it hard to live above his line if you're not used to sailing that style.
So
There's Noakes, and something's just happened round. Oh no, the bang's gone on SKE Electrical, has it?
It has, Jimmy. Well, either that, they've just kicked it out of the cleat, but they're sailing with a very open leach.
Yeah, well the boom was almost skyward, felt. So
The only thing keeping that down's the main sheet, do we think?
we think at the moment we'll hopefully try and get a look inside the boat. But no, it looks like
Looking
they've
better
rectified it now.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of these guys when they tack actually release that little bit of bang.
Mate, that wasn't a little bit. That was
was a lot.
that was every bit of rate they had on board.
Possibly didn't get it back into the cleat on time.
That was telling the sheet hand to stop kicking it out of the cleat in the tacks, I think. Looking down, SKE there now out to leeward, and just looking from where we are, you can't really tell. They've taken a bit of a header up there.
Yeah, they have.
Noakes on a big header. I'm surprised they haven't tacked on that.
Well, the Noakes is almost going down into them. This is opening
are.
up for the NAHS here a little bit, isn't it? To give themselves, sort of extend out to this left-hand side. Which has paid dividends majority of the times up already.
Typhoon, you can see there.
Typhoon here is about to get just crossing behind the Moonin.
Personally, I'd like to see them just tuck a little bit of Cunningham into the Typhoon. It's very untidy, the bottom of that mainsail.
It just doesn't look right.
Doesn't look right, but who am I to tell Nathan Wilmot and Malcolm Page how to set up a boat?
I think you should pop around and see him, Dole, and explain what a Cunningham does.
They have them on the 470s.
One boat that doesn't have a problem with their Cunningham is the Cunninghams.
Yes.
They're all over it.
Oh, that's...
Here's some of the 13s going down. I think this is their third lap.
Just trying to pick them up for the Duchess.
Yeah,
just on screen there.
We missed the leaders coming past before, but if nothing too much had changed, the Evics and the Fluid had a pretty handy lead on the rest of the fleet last time we saw them. And I think Botany Scaffold was in third. But we didn't get close enough to them on that lap to see where they were actually at. A few punters on the catamaran just giving us a shout out there. Hope you're all having a great day.
The Belmont support team.
A few good sailors on that boat, which could have mixed up in this regatta. However, choosing to have a bit of an extended holiday from Belmont.
Well, I hope they've got the live stream on board there.
Yeah.
But they certainly look like they're having a great day. Who are we looking at in the tide there? That's a 13. I can't tell which one it is. And we've got Noakes just having to put in one more tack here to get up to the starboard ley line. Manly sailing 13, doing a bit of a scrappy rounding there. They're probably looking at the Noakes coming up behind them, panicking, I would reckon. It's like having a Mack truck bearing down on you.
It's a bit intimidating, the bow poles on the 16s for some of these 13 kids, isn't it, Dolly?
So here we go. The Noakes. Windward set.
Extended well on SKE there.
Yeah, well, I think that little problem the SKE had briefly there probably cost them a little bit of time.
I think the Noakes has just been quick uphill though as well.
They're sailing exceptionally well.
The SKE coming in here, another. Harry's really sort of changed up that boat since he's jumped on. I think it has been a bit lighter. I think he's
His
solid
crew weight.
He's solid 15, 20 kilos lighter than Scott Beebe, I reckon.
Oh, yeah, if not more, I think. There's not too much to Harry. He's fit.
And he's a pretty handy little sailor.
He knows his way around the boat, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, as I said, I think earlier in the week, he knows how to win too.
Yeah, he's used to it.
Yeah, here's the NHS coming around in third.
On screen now. Nice flat fairway. I was a bit disappointed the SKE were a bit chine up on that last fairway, but they got the job done. Not too much danger in this sort of pressure of breeze. You just saw the Moonin tacking over there.
Moon and the Typhoon are half a boat length away from each other back there.
That's going to be a battle in itself.
I think we're sort of following down our leader, the Noakes here, as best we can. Jimmy's once again dealing with
Jimmy's
majority of the traffic on the harbour, all going exactly where Jimmy wants to go again.
Threading the needle, we are.
I don't love it.
They do. It's like you got a magnet on you today, Jimmy.
Should come out with us on a Sunday, Paulie, for the 18s one day and see how much fun it is.
Paulie and I'd be happy to join you one day, Jimmy, if you can get rid of those other blokes.
I haven't had as much experience as Dole's had in an 18. I'm not too confident on the big bucks. So, lovely shot here that our man's put in for the Noakes.
So the other blue spinnaker you can see in shot there is the Joe Walsh rigging. They're a lap behind, so don't get confused and think that they're in contention with the Noakes here.
And Dolly, have you been throwing the rocks out the window? Are we confident in that?
The other thing, guys, I'm just saying, sort of in the back of screen there's Skelcon.
They look like they're...
Looks pretty broken.
Yeah, something's where you can't see them on screen. The Skelcon,
they look like they've had
a catastrophic spinnaker problem by the looks of it.
That looks like a shoot failure to me.
Yeah.
Now, are we confident this is the finish here, Dom? You've been throwing your rocks out the window.
I thought it was, but I could be wrong.
The way
Now, to me, the Noakes don't look like they're in any hurry to go around this gate. Paulie?
No, they don't. Looks like they're cruising through. Very impressive from these Noakes. The Noakes team again.
Wow.
Well done to the Noakes. See, that's 4 now.
Impressive.
You learn these things, Paulie.
Is that 4 wins for the Noakes this week?
Four.
I think it is
4 laps.
Oh, it's also 4 wins.
It is 4 wins as well. You're right, Paulie.
See?
Impressive.
That maths is paying off again, Dolly. I've just had whispered from somewhere behind me about my private education at North Sydney Boys, which is a very public school. Thank you very much.
We've just got voices in our heads that you people at home can't hear. But
so the SKE looks like they've got a nice, comfortable run into the finish here. I don't mind giving Harry Price the kiss of death.
Oh, that's nasty. That's nasty. They are going to have to jibe before they run into us. Don't panic, folks. Here they go now.
Very nice, smooth jibe from them there.
So Noakes from the St George Club with the win. SKE Electrical from Belmont getting second. And NHS should get third here.
SKE, another boat like the Tribeca, who have enough telltales on their spinnaker for the whole fleet.
This is actually going to be closer than I think with Eric's, right?
Eric's, starboard advantage to the NHS here. And they've just gone bow up. They just went a little softer now. They've got the puff. They're coming away.
I'd say the NHS are going to be able to get through there.
They are indeed.
The other big one here is the Typhoon in the back of screen. We might pan around in a second. The Typhoon's taken their classic line of having to drop the chute early, whereas the Moonin's taken a lovely lane straight down the centre in almost the puff of the day. So we've got ripping into the pin end of the... Oh.
I was going to say that Noonan won't catch them, and they won't. Typhoon really hot on that pin end. There they go now. And they're nearly...
They're over, but they're in the tide.
But I think they had finished, yeah?
Yep. You don't have to finish upright. There's no rule about that.
No, I think they crossed the line while they were upright, Jimmy.
Yes.
Yes.
Next across the line, Sail Racing, closely followed by Cunningham's.
So Sail Racing probably needed a little bit better than that.
Yeah, and I think the Moonin as well. Just
Cunningham's will be happy with another consistent finish, top 10.
Yeah, ever since they dropped their rig day one, they've just started getting some really consistent...
I think it's a rocket ship with a new mast in it.
Yeah, yeah. I think they'll be sending a thank you letter to Club Marine. So on screen now...
G'day to Jeff Pugh from Club Marine,
yeah,
tuning in.
And Pete Ryan.
Well, Pete's no longer with him, he's retired.
He has too, yeah.
He is retired, so
yep.
Jeff Pugh's the man to call and harass there at Club Marine if you want to...
So I was going to say next in is probably the IME behind Sail Racing, but it's not going to be because
the
fluid building has snuck through, and that's actually not good for the IME because that puts another boat between them and their major competitors, and that's another point lost. Then there's another couple sneaking in. I think it might be Hugh Stoddard, is it? But he's on Port Jibe with no rights.
And then the Tribeca just below them.
Yeah, same again. They're not going to get the IME.
No.
Tight finish between the Tribeca and Musto here, which I think will go to the Musto. Yep. Then Tribeca. Then we've got Nozomi up against Light and Wonder, which...
Oh, that's a close one.
That is a close one.
Too close for us to call, Dolly.
We might have to go to the stewards for that one.
Yeah.
Go to the bunker. Well, that's sort of the top 10 there for the 16s. What we might do for the viewers, we might duck up and jump onto the leaders in the 13s, and we'll ride them home and have a bit of a chat about them. What do you think, Dol?
That'd be great, mate. Give the youngsters a bit of coverage.
We had to guess who is leading the 13s at the moment. Who are you going with, Dolly?
I think it will be the Ebix, mate. But yeah, I'm a little bit biased. I'll be hoping it's the Botany Scaffold.
Remember they had that wrap in the set.
Well, they did, Jimmy. Yeah, so Jimmy just pointing out that the Ebix did have a Spinnaker wrap. But to me it looks like they've just gone around the top mark and that Spinnaker has come out cleanly.
That'd be a nervous upwind sail, wouldn't it? Like sucking a wrapped Spinnaker into your bag and then getting to the top and you pull it out and hoping to hell it unravels itself.
Right, yeah, but when the tension's off the halyard and the kite's going up, it should unwrap itself.
You'd hope.
You'd hope. So from what I can see, we've got Ebix with only a narrow lead over the fluid building.
Yep.
So that's Gemma and James Hopkins sailing Ebix, closely followed by Don Rowlandson and Liam Karunaratne. That one? Yeah.
It's a great result for the fluid here. One of the, I think I said it yesterday, I think it's got one of the best bits of the best sign writing out in the fleet at the moment, doesn't it? You can pick that Spinnaker out from anywhere.
It really stands out, doesn't it, Paul?
Yeah, Clint's always done a good job with the kind of fluid sign writing, hasn't he?
Yeah.
It's gone a bit back to the basics on the 16 at the moment, though.
You must have someone in marketing, I think. It looks like next we've got the Plonk.
Yep, another good race from them.
Yep, so they've come around top. That's Avril Richardson with Warren Taylor from Middle Harbour Club.
And it looks like there's a bit of a good back gap to number 9 out of the starboard lay.
Yeah, number 9, there's another one in there, the Martley. So it looks like we might have number 9 the next one round, so that's Angus Stewart and Hugo Kemp.
On screen now, though, this is a lovely battle between the Ebix and the Fluid. I like the lane that the Fluid's taken here, slightly above the 16s, because the Ebix is sort of... we've seen that these 13s are pretty quick downhill.
They are.
In these kind of marginal conditions, if you can get them out against the 16, they don't lose much to them, do they?
And these two 13s are being really well sailed too.
Got some
They're youngsters, all with the exception of James Hopkins. So James is now 18, but both Gemma, Theo and Kobe, they're all about 15 years old. They're very young to be sailing a skiff, doing a fantastic job.
I'd like to see the fluid foreign hand there just drop himself down a tiny bit further on that wire. You can see James Hopkins below just sitting a little bit lower, and they're just getting a little bit quicker through the water with that little extra leverage.
Yeah, he's a bit flatter.
Yeah, you find as well you're a little bit more stable on the wire for these 13 kids listening when you do drop yourself down. And especially I found when I've sailed on one, as you walk back, the shorter mast length, you seem to go up quite a bit higher.
Yeah, that's true.
So you've got to work a little bit harder on these 13s to stay low.
For my money too, if they watch this back tonight, I think Theo and Kobe could drive the boat a bit lower. They're sailing a high line.
Yeah.
They're probably not flat enough.
Yeah.
And with the boat below them, they should be trying to drive down over the top.
They're trying to jive it here, trying to mix it up though. It's good to
right.
see.
Yeah.
I'd expect the Evix to pick a nice spot themselves and go back with them. There we go now. One thing we've noticed, sort of, the Evix's crew work has been pretty slick all week.
And just as you said that, Paulie, they did a bit of a scrappy job.
The worst job I've seen them do.
Probably the worst job I've seen them do all week. Maybe starting to feel a little bit of pressure, but they've got a very good points buffer.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, with one race to go now, I think we'd have to check the points, but I think they've probably got the series in the bag with a race to spare.
Tell you what, the fluid's coming back here. They made some good gains in their little dig out there.
Yeah, they're on port jibe now with no right, so.
However, they're going to be able to get power forward on the Evix here after the jibe for a very tight run into the finish.
Ebix.
Oh, the Ebix.
James just fell out.
They're man overboard and the pressure has got to them and they have capsized.
Let's follow through now, the fluid through to the finish. That's the pressure. Good job from the fluid team there.
James went through, and as they do in these boats, they go through and do a wide jibe without hooking up. They hook up once they're out on the gunnel, as you see most of the 49er sailors and modern classes do now. And James just missed his handle then, I think.
You're trying to say a lot of the 16 guys can't do that?
No, they're too old and slow. It's park your bum on the gunnel, hook up and clamber your way out.
Well, the other thing is in the 16, you're lucky enough to have someone running wide or wire with nothing in their hands if you choose to.
Yeah, true. So there's a final jibe for the fluid boys, Donnie and Kobe, and they will be very happy to take that race win.
If we look back up the course, Ebix is already back up.
Yeah.
There you go. Well done to the fluid.
That's a great bit of sailing from the fluid team there at the end.
Yeah, good boys.
It's just persistence. Put pressure on the other team, and when they stuff up, capitalise.
Yeah,
really.
And you picked it, Paulie. You said they're throwing a jibe at them to try and mix it up, and it paid off, right?
Well, the Evix were in a strong position. They could have just sailed them out to lay here and made them follow them in.
Indeed.
It was
they took the bait. Yeah, so Ebix coming in now, they're still second place, and that'll be enough for them. I think we'll have to check the points, but
why don't you look it up while we're where they were before?
I think you'll find that the first race won it for them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here comes third place, Plonk.
Another good race from the Plonk.
Thompson from the cafe called us this morning, saying he's tuning in, watching it. So.
Oh, very good.
Shout out. Roll this morning, Jimmy?
No, he didn't even offer to bring a bacon egg roll up
We've
to...
shouted him out enough, haven't we?
Yeah. But a shout out, and great to give some young sailors some support.
Some old sailors, some bacon and egg rolls.
So yeah, that's Avril and Warwick. That's a good solid third place for them. We've got a few straggler 16s coming through as well. And
A
on
pretty
screen,
tight battle here between Bartley and number 9.
Yep.
Bartley.
And they're going to get mixed up with the man flu here. Man flu almost looks like they've let them go there. They've gone, we're not going to upset the kids, which is very nice of the Stabac boys. Because they're both going to have to jibe here to make this finish line. There goes Bartley now.
And now they've got the man flu doing their best to try and get involved in their race.
Man flu dropping the kite before they're even at the finish, and I hope they're going to sail through the finish here, because at the moment they're missing it. They're doing a red pumps on the man flu. Or have they got another lap to go? Surely not.
Well, I don't think... Oh, I'm not going to say too much, actually.
Feel about what's on screen then, Paulie.
Here we have one of your teams, Tolly.
Yeah, so Bella and Sophie soaking into the finish line, which I've told them not to do 1,000 times, and letting number 40 sneak through underneath, but now they've hotted it up. They must have heard me.
Number 40 is Cheeky, Zachary White from Hornsby Karingai.
Got to remember, Dolly, you never listen to your own father when it comes to sailing.
I know. But yeah, we've spoken about that. Get out on wire and heat it up. It's a skiff, right?
Send it.
With an asymmetric, there's no poling it back. You're out of flying 11 now.
And here is Shearline coming to the finish. And it's a long way back after them, so we'll probably just watch Shearline finish, and then we might wrap it up for the day and see everyone back for tomorrow for race 9, the final race. It's still all there to play for in the 16s.
It's going to be tight at the top.
Not over yet, so definitely tune in, tell your mates, share the links. Don't forget, if you've got any questions or comments, feel free to leave them on whatever social platform you are looking at. We do look at them. A lot of people, we don't look at them live, but we do look at them after the event, so make sure you tune in the following day and we can try and answer some of your questions for you.
Say nice things about me and Paulie in the comments.
And don't forget to go and check the results out. Probably give Jack another half hour thereabouts to get them up.
Figure out the points in one of the comments sections.
Yeah, hold on.
That'd be a great help.
Yep, www.manly16s.com.au is the site.
I'm looking forward to seeing those points.
And to just make sure you hit if you're watching on YouTube, log in, hit the subscribe button, you'll be notified when we go live, so don't forget that. But Paulie, Dole, thanks very much for jumping back on board today. To Rob, Sam, Jono and Chits, thanks so very much, boys, for all your expert work. It makes my job easy. Just the people around corners don't make my job easy. But anyway,
tough day today, Jimmy.
It's all right. But so this has been a Sail Media production for the Manly 16-foot Skiff Club, and thanks for watching.